Iasu Malagedo.
I wish you could just shut your big yapper.
I'm sorry. Welcome. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Chris Farley.
Now I wonder, Brian, from what I've heard, you're using your paper not for writing, but for rolling doobies. You're going to be doing a lot of doobie rolling when you're living in a van down by the river.
Ladies and gentlemen, growing up in the 90s, there were very, very few people that were funnier than Chris Farley. Chris Farley is one of the funniest people, in my opinion, one of the funniest people of all time, period. I mean, even to this day, people still talk about him. It's almost been 25 years, if you can believe it, that he has passed. And his name is still out there. People still talk about his movies, the impact he had on Saturday Night Live, television, talk shows, everything. I mean, the guy was just amazing. He really was. And the clip I just played right there, obviously, was from Matt Foley, motivational speaker. Now I'm going to talk about more about that later on, but I figure it's about time that I talk about Chris Farley. And I've been meaning to do this podcast for quite some time. I'm still a big fan of his. I mean, we lost this man way too soon. And I don't know, I think it's kind of ironic that today it's raining, and it's raining pretty hard. You know, it's almost as if, I'm getting a little message from above there saying, like even God misses Chris Farley still. Maybe I'm a little crazy, but we all have to be a little crazy to do this thing, entertainment, and I'm not saying I'm part of, this world or even remotely close to Chris Farley, because Chris Farley was one of a kind. A lot of people out there, are compared to Chris Farley. Guys like Kevin James, Jack Black, I love all these guys, don't get me wrong, but no one comes even remotely close to Chris Farley. I mean, he was very physical with his comedy, and just a good soul. I mean, he had his problems. Okay, we all get that, but I mean, who doesn't? You know what I mean? And the impact that this man has left us, like I said, almost 25 years later, is just incredible. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, I would like to talk about Chris Farley today, and with the help of Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, because free is always good and it's always awesome. I would like to talk about one of the greatest comic minds of all time, just one of the funniest people of all time, period. I mean, I think Norm Macdonald said it best. I mean, he can make anybody laugh. And that's another guy we lost way too soon. And it just, like I said, I always get a little emotional talking about Chris Farley because he always makes me laugh. At the same time, we just lost him way too soon. But like I said, I've been meaning to do this for a long time with this podcast. So I think I got enough on him that I'd like to do this. I can actually pull this off, hopefully. And let's get started. Christopher Crosby Farley, born February 15th, 1964, and passed away December 18th, 1997, was an American actor and comedian. Farley was known for his loud, energetic comedic style and was a member of Chicago's Second City Theater, and later a cast member of the NBC sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live between 1990 and 1995. He later went on to pursue a film career, appearing in films such as Airheads, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Beverly Hills Ninja, and Almost Heroes. From his early acting days and through the height of his fame, Farley struggled with obesity and substance abuse. He died of a drug overdose at the age of 33. You know, he had so much more to offer. I mean, you know, again, you know, way too soon, guys. It sucks. It really does. I mean, you know, like I said, like growing up, kid of the 90s, you know, guys like Jim Carrey, I loved a lot, you know, fellow Canadian, of course, but Farley was right there. I mean, he had such a strong presence in everything he did. I mean, literally everything. Like, even if it wasn't the best sketch on Saturday Night Live, like just him being in that sketch, even for a few seconds, saying a one line, like whatever. He just had it. You know, people always talk about that it factor, you know, you either got it or you don't. And he had it. It just something about him, just, I don't know, just as soon as you saw him, you would just start laughing. You know, you knew he was going to do something funny. He was awesome. I mean, he really was. And yeah, I was able to find a few facts about him on this website called buzznicked.com. And I mean, there's lots to cover. I mean, I've found lots of stories about him, but let's just see what they have to offer as well. So here we go. Chris Crosby Farley graduated from Marquette University with a degree in communication and theater in 1986. All right, so from a very young age, you know, he wanted to entertain people. I mean, I always heard the story that, you know, he's with his dad one day, you know, big fan of comedy himself, you know. He had his brothers. I guarantee you've seen his brothers do lots of other things as well. There's a one scene in Black Sheep where like he's acting or he's doing the guard thing, whatever, and in the background there's two guys, and those are his brothers. So like one was really tall and skinny, the other one was more, you know, a little bit bigger, shorter, like him. And I mean, you can tell just by looking at the face. I mean, so you know, they're all fans of comedy. I mean, they all love doing it. So. And one day they were just watching Animal House on TV, and he saw his dad just laughing his ass off. And, you know, he was a big fan of John Belushi growing up. And, yeah, he just knew, you know what, this is something I could do. Like, he knew pretty much at that moment that, yeah, this is, you know, something I like to pursue. You know, he ended up going to Second City and then Chicago there. And, you know, obviously killing it there and, you know, coming up with great characters there. And, yeah, he was just destined, you know, to do it. I mean, you can tell from a young age. A lot of times we watch stuff with our parents. We want to please our parents and stuff like that. And, you know, but we see like what makes people laugh at an early age. And then from there, we kind of, you know, go from there and see, you know, if we can make this a career or not. So that's pretty cool. It says here, Chris Farley's father owned an oil company in Madison, WI, which I'm assuming stands for Wisconsin. Pardon my Canadianness, called Scotch Oil Company, and Chris's first job was working with his father when he graduated from college. Listen, what family member has not gotten us a job? Okay, I mean, some of us, you know, we do it for a little bit. Some of us, I don't know, we basically, you know, realize, hey, we, you know, we're not going to amount to shit in life, and we're just going to work for our father's company for the next 30 years, and, you know, that's good benefits, whatever. So, but yeah, you know, Chris only did that for a little bit, obviously, and, you know, he knew he was destined for bigger things. He was discovered in Chicago while performing at the Comedy Club by Lorne Michaels, the producer of Saturday Night Live. Shortly afterward, Farley was cast for the 1990-91 season of SNL. There you go. You know, when you go to Second City, I mean, a lot of people, I did a whole podcast about that. I went to Second City, took some classes there. Great experience for me. I mean, I did the one in Toronto. It was just awesome. It was great doing it. I mean, that was the same year that they introduced the John Candy Box Theater, you know, the little room there. So again, that means a lot to me because I grew up in East York, and John Candy grew up in East York, so it was a huge honor for me. But going to Second City, you know, basically for those people who don't know, it's, you know, an acting school, and a lot of people you do see on Saturday Night Live more than likely either come from the Gremlins from L.A. Or, you know, a lot of people come from Second City. You know, it's Lorne Michael goes there, he basically has his pick of the litter, you know, and if you see someone with a lot of talent, you know, a.k.a. Chris Farley, then, you know, there's a good chance he will or she will end up on Saturday Night Live. So he was able to do that. Being at Second City for a little while, and there you go. Not a lot of people get picked for that, and Chris Farley was one of them. He was able to stand out, and there you go. God bless Lorne Michaels. One of his many girlfriends was Lorne Michaels' assistant, Erin Maroney, who became a writer for Saturday Night Live. Not a lot of people can say that either. There's actually a good story there. I heard that at one point he was going out, with this woman, and I'm pretty sure this is the same woman that ended up, I think, dumping Chris and going out with Steve Martin. But we'll talk more about that a little later. Chris Farley was fired from Saturday Night Live along with co-host Adam Sandler in 1995, 1 year before his contract ended. Okay, so at this time, I'll tell you a little history on this. So basically, like I said, I grew up in the 90s, if you haven't figured that one out by now. He was able to, obviously, team up with his buddies there, Spade, Sandler, all the boys there. But unfortunately, a lot of critics, just felt Saturday Night Live during those years, all these guys were on there. It was very silly, it just wasn't good. I completely disagree. This is when I first started watching Saturday Night Live. I loved it. That was great. And really, if you look back at the cast right now, I mean, if you look at that picture from, let's say, like 1992 or whatever, I think this is by far the most successful cast that Saturday Night Live has ever produced. I mean, Adam Sandler, forget, that guy can write his own paycheck on Netflix. Chris Rock, one of the funniest stand-up comedians of all time. Farley, legend. David Spade, he's been on numerous shows. Mike Myers, I mean, forget it. Another moment that makes me proud to be a Canadian. Shrek and Wayne's World and Austin Powers. Forget. I mean, just. It's insane that these guys weren't, recognized as being funny. I mean, they were known as being silly and all that. But, I mean, if you're doing sketch comedy, it's going to get a little silly. So, I don't know. And then he decided, Lorne Michaels, he's basically just going to clean house. And, a lot of these dudes, I didn't know until years later either. I thought they just left or whatever to do movies. But, most of these guys, they got fired. It was just, and this is when guys like, Will Ferrell started coming in and, that's it. I mean, but... was it a mistake? I mean, who knows? But, in my eyes, this is the most successful cast that Saturday Night Live has ever produced. I mean, people that have, graduated from Saturday Night Live and gone on to other things. So, if you look back at it, like I said, it's pretty crazy how successful these guys have come. And there you go. I mean, I don't know. What are you going to do? I mean, like in this business, I mean, I heard someone say that, when you got a job, even if you're on a show for 10 years, afterwards, you can still get fired and then you're out of a job. You know what I mean? So at least these guys were on Saturday Night Live, were able to prove their point and, make their mark. And, they've done a lot of successful things after. So I'm pretty sure things worked out, especially for Adam Sandler. Netflix has been very good to him. Trust me. He was neighbors with Jerry Springer at the John Hancock Center in Chicago. I did not know that. For those of you who don't know who Jerry Springer is, he was a very famous late night talk host. A lot of people would be considering that a bit of a stretch, but I mean, people were looking forward to the fights, including me and my family at nighttime. Watching, that's why people tuned in, just to see, people fighting and just go nuts and whatever. Although I did learn with Jerry Springer, never pay a hooker with a check. That's never a good idea. I'll come back to haunt you. But other than that, I mean, Jerry seems like a pretty all right dude. So there you go. Is he a good neighbor? Who knows? While working for Saturday Night Live, Farley had smaller acting roles in 4 movies. Wayne's World, played a security guard, represent. Coneheads, Connie's boyfriend. Wayne's World 2, Milton. And Airheads, Officer Wilson. There you go. So, we're going to get more into that in a little bit, but yeah, start again, little roles here and there, working with big time names, and, why not? That's the point of being in this business. If you work with cool people, hopefully, and, your career, just keeps going. Farley also had a cameo appearance in the sitcom Roseanne, where he played a customer at a clothing store. This was funny. Again, we're going to get more into this later, but yeah, very funny. I always enjoyed the Roseanne show. I know. She said what she said. I did a whole podcast on that. Don't worry about that. Okay, what are you gonna do? But it is weird watching the Connors nowadays without Roseanne there. It's still a good show. Don't get me wrong. But I watch John Goodman in anything. I mean, the guy's fucking awesome. But he was also another. He was a bouncer for a while. But yeah, there you go. The first film where he starred in a major role was Tommy Boy. That is true. Again, we will get more into that later. But yeah, I mean, in many ways, this is his best movie that he did, for sure. Classic in my book. I don't give a fuck. The critics didn't, really agree, especially, was it Roger and Ebert there? I don't know. But they always shit on that crowd and Sandler and all those dudes. And I don't know. What the fuck do they know? I don't know. The one guy, I don't know, he gave thumbs down to Rocky and Silence of the Lambs, and then the other guy with the glasses there, he thinks Star Wars is the best movie ever. So I don't know, he's what are you gonna do? Rest in peace. Chris Farley had a bit of a temper, no shit. When on the set of Tommy Boy, he found out that his best friend David Spade went out with Rob Lowe without inviting him. So Farley taunted Spade about their outgoing and stomped on his hand. Well, how are you not going to invite Farley out? I mean, come on, Spade, I love you, but that's going to come back to haunt you. But again, there's lots more stories like that. We'll get into that in a little bit. Chris Farley had 3 additional starring roles after Tommy Boy, which were Black Sheep, Beverly Hills Ninja, and Almost Heroes. Almost Heroes was released after his death. Again, we'll get into that more in a bit. But, again, you build yourself up in this business. Hopefully you get to be in your own movies, and there you go. It says here, a quote, the point is, how do you know the guarantee fairy isn't a crazy glue sniffer? Now, that is an awesome quote by his character in Tommy Boy. Very good. I love Tommy Boy, man. I can't wait to get to this. So just give me time. Don't worry. We're it's raining outside. Don't worry. Chris Farley had 3 brothers and 1 sister. His brother Kevin Farley made an appearance in each of his films. 2 of his brothers are actors and were in Tommy Boy during the wedding reception. There you go. That's it. You help out your family, man. Why not? They want to be actors too. It's all good, man. That's it, All the checks end up coming home. That's great. When he was a child, Farley made up the term holy shnikes, which he uses in Tommy Boy. This phrase was made up because of his mother's strict no swearing policy. I mean, I'm Greek and Italian. I really didn't have a swearing policy. I mean, one time I did get in shit because as I was saying my swears, I would just go, this is bleeping bull bleep. But it sounded horrible. I did it too many times. My dad got pissed off, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? I mean, people got to swear, it is what it is. Or else people are just going to go nuts, Chris Farley led to a very wild lifestyle which resulted in morbid obesity, heavy drinking, which he went to rehab for several times. He frequently hired prostitutes and had a history of a wild lifestyle which led to his death caused by an overdose. Well, I mean, we all got our demons, it's just a matter of how far they take us. So, yeah, I mean, he did everything pretty hard. I mean, worked hard, but party hard, it is what it is. So, but again, we'll get more into that in a little bit. At the time of his death, Farley was planning a third movie with David Spade, who starred with him in Tommy Boy and Black Sheep. That's true. Spade did the movie Lost and Found there. The character, I think that was supposed to be played by Farley. Artie Lang took it. You just assume that was the movie, but maybe they were going to do something else. Who knows? I doubt Black Sheep that was going to be their last thing that they ever did together, for sure. Chris Farley was the original choice for the voice of Shrek and had recorded most of the dialogue. The role went to Mike Myers when Farley died. Okay, so once again, this website's getting a little ahead of me. Okay, you're making me look bad. Now listen, this is true. I mean, I didn't know this for years either, but again, we're going to get more into this in a little bit, but all I can say is this. I mean, it is... everyone's like, oh, what would Farley done after he didn't die? He would have been fine. He would have done Shrek. He would have been just fine. So don't worry about that. And Shrek is one of my favorite, I don't know if you can call it a cartoon or whatever, Pixar, Disney. I don't know who's in charge of these cartoons. But the point is, it's a classic. Okay, it's a shame that they... I don't know. They kind of dumbed it down again for the last 2, 3, 4, whatever. I mean, the first one, was great. It had all these adult jokes, but that's what made it so good. So that's why it's a classic. And it would have definitely been interesting to see Farley in that one. So that's for sure. Shrek uses air quotes in homage to Chris Farley's character Bennett Bronner on Saturday Night Live. I did not know that. Did not know that. Yeah, I remember the character he did on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, I don't brush my teeth. I don't eat well. I get scabs on my skin and peel on. Don't let them heal. Yeah, classic character. But again, we'll get more into Saturday Night Live in a bit. During his time on Saturday Night Live, he was a part of the pack known as the Bad Boys of Saturday Night Live. Other members were Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, and David Spade. Listen, I love all these guys. Again, people always shit on Rob Schneider. I don't know why. Like, if you look at the success of Adam Sandler's earlier movies, that one character he would always play, it was always awesome. I mean, that one character, what was it? Big Daddy, where he played the delivery guy. Hip Hop Anonymous. I thought you could have made a movie based on that guy. I mean, not today, because you're getting shit for... I don't know, for, breathing in comedies. But, I mean, all these guys together were just great. It was pretty awesome. The Bad Boys of Saturday Night Live were planning to do a movie together called Grown Ups, but the movie was put on hold for 10 years. After Farley's death, his intended part was played by Kevin James. Now, again, I found a bunch of movies that... Chris Farley was supposed to be in. I think a lot of people know at this point that, Kevin James did replace, Farley. I think that was, an obvious choice. He's close with Sandler and all that. But again, we'll get more into that in a little bit. Chris Farley idolized John Belushi, who had an eerily similar bio. They both worked on Saturday Night Live, starred in movies, battled obesity. They had out-of-control lifestyles, and died at the age of 33 due to an overdose. Sad to say that. It really is. I mean, a lot of people do see that similarity. Also they were, in a room, with a strange woman, doing drugs and all that. And yeah, it was very eerie the way both these guys died. I always wondered to this day, like, if, I mean, obviously Belushi, I don't know, who knows if he, whatever, but, I had kind of control over the situation or whatever. But I mean, with Farley, I always wondered, like, did he do this on purpose? Or like, I mean, was it by accident that all these things were connected together? Or is it just one big coincidence? You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, it is, either way, man, we lost two very big legends here. I love both these dudes very much. I mean, Animal House, to me, is the funniest movie of all time. All right? I thought about this long and hard, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to do a podcast on my top 10 favorite comedies of all time, especially in today's world where, Like I said, I mean, if the PC culture has killed one thing, it is absolutely it's killed comedy. I mean, especially in movies, and I mean, think about it, when was the last time you saw a really good R-rated comedy? It just, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it does suck to think about that situation. So, yeah. It says here, at the time of his death, Farley was 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed 298 pounds. That's too much. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I can say as a fellow fat guy, I'm pretty sure I'm one of the few people in this world that have lost 100 pounds and still is considered obese. I went from 340 to, I went as low as 217. Remember that day I weighed myself, almost fell off the scale. Didn't fall off the scale, but because I don't know, I think the scale threw me off because it just liked me better fatter. But I was a little dizzy and just losing a lot of weight in a short amount of time, like 6 months. And, nowadays I'm like up and down from 240. So, but yeah, it's, but then, with Chris, he was just such a physical, funny guy. I mean, like for a guy his size, that's what made Chris Farley so cool, is that like he could just, he wasn't one of these like big guys that would just kind of, waddle his arms around and maybe just yell or whatever. Like he was very physical. I mean, the guy was an athlete in school there. I think he played like football and rugby, and I think the one shirt he wore in Tommy Boy there in the beginning there when he was in college, I think that was like an ode to that. And yeah, it just, and nobody could fall like Farley. Farley, falling Farley. Like, say that 3 times fast. But, like even Norm Macdonald said that, they all tried at one point, like the cast, or just with some, buddies, whatever. They tried falling, and every time Farley would fall, he wouldn't put his arms out. He just fell. He just took it. Like, it was great. Even Norm's like, oh, your instinct is to put your arms out so you can, not get hurt. But Farley just, he was the king of that, a king of falling for sure. Like nobody could take a fall like Farley. Like he did it so good. I don't know. So, and then he got up like nothing happened. Like, whoopsie daisy. It was fucking awesome. But I honestly, for a guy his size, like he was just so physical, so good at it, and I don't know, like, people that are, I like I said, I grew up with guys like Jim Carrey and all that. He could do that, but Jim Carrey was, skinny as a pencil. We, expect him to move like Gumby, anyway. It was fucking awesome. But Farley just, usually when you're bigger, you can't move that fast. So, but Farley proved everybody wrong with that one for sure. Also says here, Chris Farley's net worth at the time of death was $5 million. All right, fair enough. I'm not gonna lie to you. Definitely after Shrek, it would be a little bit more than that. Ask Mike Myers. But yeah, he was still kind of in the middle of his career, coming on Saturday Night Live, doing things. So yeah, that's, Shrek alone would have, forget it. It would have put him way over the top for sure. He was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame after his death. It is located outside of the Improv Olympic Theater West, where he had performed. So that's a cool spot. Right there where he performed, improv. Him going to Second City. That was, yeah, like I said, it's a big honor. For anybody to go there and, to perform on the stage there, kill it. And it's definitely an appropriate spot to have the star, for sure. Chris Farley was the original choice for Jim Carrey's role in the 1996 film The Cable Guy. Unknown scheduling conflicts caused him to miss out on that opportunity. Now, this I heard a few years ago. This is, completely different movie. I'm not gonna lie. I love Jim Carrey. When I first saw this movie, I was like, "Wow, this is awesome!" But it was Jim Carrey mania. I saw it years later. I'm like, "Yeah, I can see why people don't like this movie." It wasn't so much just his performance or whatever. It's just I wasn't. I don't know. I think it was that good of a movie. I got to be honest. I don't know. Maybe it's become like a cult classic now or whatever. But I don't know. But you know what? You put Chris Farley in there. I don't know. Would it been as dark, of a comedy but I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know. From 1990 to 1995, Chris Farley appeared in 100 episodes of Saturday Night Live. Well, I hope so. Okay, because like I said before, you put him in there, like even if it's the worst sketch or whatever, he always just stood out to me. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people feel like that as well. But I mean, he just always had that presence, just always. It's just the way, he'd perform a line, physically, his facial expressions, it just, I think it was great. So I'm not surprised. We got a talent like that on your team. You want to use him as much as possible. That's for sure. It says here, the movie Tommy Boy opened at number 1, and it was commercially his greatest success. Yeah, for sure. I would, like I said, we'll get more into that later, but I remember seeing the movie in theaters. I thought it was great. Yeah, definitely his best movie, for sure. Tommy Boy allowed Chris Farley and David Spade to receive the MTV Movie Award for Best On-Screen Duo in 1996. Of course. Why not? I mean, those two together, kind of like the new Laurel and Hardy, kind of thing, big guy, little guy, I mean, they just played so well off each other, for sure. Absolutely.
I gotta do this. I gotta do this. You gotta be me. It's gonna be. Are you ready? Yeah. Sorry. I'm ready. Hey, does this suit make me look fat?
No. Your face does. Okay, let's check you out. Right.
That's a clip-on.
Hi, are you sure? All right, now, it's sale time, so remember, we don't take no...
No shit from anyone.
No?
We don't take no prisoners.
We don't take no for an answer.
Oh, yeah. We don't take no for an answer. We don't take no for an answer. We don't take no for an answer. No. Okie dokie.
Okay, so that was a scene from Tommy Boy, one of many classic scenes in this movie. I just want to demonstrate like how well these two played off each other. Does a suit make me look fat? No, your face does. The face Farley does after is hilarious. But I mean, yeah, these two were just fucking awesome together. So yeah, I don't know what MTV award goes for nowadays, but it was definitely well deserved. Keep in mind the M used to stand for music. Now I'm pretty sure it stands for media. Yeah, they do not play music videos anymore on MTV. I mean, if you told someone that in 1985 that would happen, they would think you're nuts. But hey, different world. What can I tell you? But yeah, those two guys, fucking awesome. But usually at this point of the podcast, I usually review all the movies this person has done, aka Chris Farley. But I would like to tell a whole bunch of stories I've gathered online with Farley, which, I mean, in many ways, all these stories might even top anything he's ever done in film. Some of these are just absolute classics. I'm going to start with probably my favorite one, which I don't know. I'm gonna try to get through here. So basically, obviously, Chris Farley and David Spade met each other on Saturday Night Live. They were teamed up in an office together. At one point, Spade was going out with a Playboy playmate for a short amount of time, and he brought in the magazine. Of course. Let's be honest. That's what you do as a guy. If you're famous, you go out with a Playboy playmate, and you want to, show off the magazine she's in. So, of course, he shows it to Farley, and Farley just takes it, I'll bring it back, whatever. And then, he didn't give it back to him. He left it on his desk. And he told Spade, hey, David, did you see your magazine? And he's like, what tell me? He's like, I left it on your desk. And, oh, man, he shit, sorry. He jizzed all over it. Shit. Oh, man. He just came all over the magazine. I mean, like the cover, inside, and he just left it on his desk. Shit. I mean, I'm like Spade's like, man, you can like like, I guess he was shocked for all the cum, but he's like, man, you could jerk off at work? He's like, yeah, I did it like in a minute. He's like, well, can you jerk off that fast in front of a woman? He's like, who gives a fuck? Like, Farley. Oh God, that's just awesome. And then the first time he ever met Jay Moore, who was a fellow cast member. Again, like Jay Moore loved him. He literally just like saw him, and Chris Farley just like he was doing all these movements and literally just fell right into his crotch. And like he didn't really, I mean, tried to get up, whatever, but he's literally just talking to his crotch. He's like, "Hey Jay, what's going on?" And like, so that's the first time. If you ever meet Chris Farley and the first time he's ever talking in your crotch, consider that an honor. Now, I think we can all agree we know about a little moment in Tommy Boy called Fat Guy in a Little Coat.
Richard, is this your coat?
Don't do it.
That guy in a little coat. That guy in a little coat.
Don't.
That guy in a little coat. That guy in a little coat.
Take it off, dickhead. I'm serious.
Richard, what's happening?
Classic. Now, obviously, we all know they did this in Tommy Boy. When they were in the office together, Lauren, would just always see these two guys, goofing on each other, whatever, especially with Chris towards David. And he would see him, always do this. And it got to a point where like he did it so many times, Chris would just have his coat on and like you just tap David on the shoulder. Hey, David, I got something to show you, and David's like, no, Chris, not the fat guy in the little coat thing. I'm so sick and tired of it, and like, it better not be the same thing again. And of course, it always is the same thing again. And like Chris Farley would just say, don't quit on it. He just kept doing it. So it got to a point where Lauren's like, you know what, let's just include that in the movie, and there you go. And of course, like I said before, Chris Farley always had a big appetite, and I mean, like he would just order basically almost two of everything. Like one time, Adam Sandler said he'd order like 2 T-bone steaks. Sometimes like he would just like whatever people were getting, he would just double up on that, and like 2 of everything, steak, salad, size. And then when he would just sit there and just eat, like just very quietly, like he wouldn't like talk to anybody. It's just, one of those things, like, I don't know, when you're seeing like a lion eat, it's prey in the wild. It didn't say anything. And I don't know, you just didn't bother him. He just, let him eat, do his thing. There's a funny, interview on YouTube there. Cindy Crawford, lovely woman. She interviewed the cast of Saturday Night Live back in the day. One of those like MTV, locked in the vault things, whatever. They finally released in the last couple of years. And it's just funny with Chris Farley. They're all just chilling there. And just at one point, he looks at the menu and he says, "I'll have this side." And that's it. They just sat there, had a good time, and, looks like the boys had a good time. Did I say good time already? Yeah, I did. And then, but the steaks he would order are like one of the size would be like a 2-inch by 2-inch steak. And like each bite he would eat, you get like squares of butter at a table or those little containers of butter. Like he would literally put the whole thing on each bite of the steak, and it's just insane. Like, and then like he would just look at people and say like, "It needs a hat," and like it's fucking crazy, man. I mean, holy shit, that's a lot of butter, man. And then when he first met Norm Macdonald, they were hired all together at Saturday Night Live there, and like he just came into a room, and of course, classic Chris Farley comes in there naked. And like literally bare naked, like nothing else on, of course. And this was his impersonation of a salad. So he would take a thing of dressing, pour it all over himself, rub it all over his body. I don't ask me what flavor. And then you would take cherry tomatoes and stick them up his ass. And then, yeah, I'm a salad. It's like, fuck, man. And then he's thinking, like, I mean, this guy's like a genius. This is fucking crazy. But yeah, it's a Thousand Island dressing. Who knows? But and also, Norm told him that Chris Farley had something really important to tell him, like a really interesting fact. It's just something that he didn't want anyone else to know. And he whispered in Norm's ear and he said, "Pat is a woman." Now, Pat is a sketch that they did on Saturday Night Live where the one lady there would dress up, as like kind of a nerdy guy, and they made a movie on it. And apparently Quentin Tarantino was a ghostwriter on that movie. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But the point is, yeah, of course, Farley would always stretch out, every joke he could, and it was just funny. I mean, we all knew Pat was a woman. I mean, if you don't know, now you know. And of course, I mentioned before, that article in New York Magazine. They just shit on the cast. They said it's getting too silly and all that, and it showed Farley like on the front cover there, and he had like one of those like old school TVs on top of his head there. His face has the screen there, or not the screen, but yeah, whatever. And yeah, like he was pissed off at the article, of course, and he said, he said to Sandler, "Look, I'm gonna go beat the guy up." And Sandler always seemed like to calm down Chris Farley, like always just like to, like just tell him, "Hey, yeah, Chris, it's okay, don't worry, you don't have to go beat people up or whatever." And he didn't, but yeah, I don't know. It's a sneaky move to do that, when you ask somebody for an article and then you shit on them after, especially when you put them on the cover. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I don't know. Sandler, I would have let him beat him up. Fuck it. And then, like I said before, Sandler would always like calm down Farley. And at one point, like he wanted to kill David Spade, for, just talking to all these girls and, kind of leaving him behind. And, like he's not getting involved in it. And, at one point, it got to a point where, like, he left him a really, really crazy voicemail on David Spade's machine there, and David Spade, like, even said, like, "I wish I kept it," but then, like afterwards, like he realized what he did was wrong, and then he came in the next day and he's like, "David, did you get my joke message?" Yeah, he just tried to play it off like that's a joke. Don't worry about it, So, oh man, that's funny. But yeah, like I said before, Jay Moore loved him. David Tell, at one point, awesome comedian, one of the best comedians out there for sure. He's been doing it for a long time. He's great. They shared an office at one point, and they just told Farley, they were just bored one day because nothing was getting done, whatever. And Jay said that they were just chilling, and like if you don't want anything to get done, just team us together. That's what he said. But and then they both told Farley, like, "Look, we'll give you $100 if you shit out the window." And keep in mind they're on like the 17th floor of 30 Rock there, which is the building at NBC there. And I don't know. I mean, like Farley didn't have to shit, but he's like, "Fuck it, I want to see the money, and like I'll do it." So they show him the money, whatever, and. He sticks his ass out the window, and like it's getting to a point where like he's doing this for like 10, 20 minutes, whatever, and like he's turning purple. He's just like, just trying to like squeeze one out there, and like after whatever minutes, it just plops out, but it doesn't like I don't. Jay Moore described it as like a Fig Newton or something, and like it didn't go all the way out the window. It was like on the ledge of the outside of the window, and then at one point, like Farley literally like wipes his he wipes his hand or wipes his ass with his hand, and then he starts chasing him like both down the hallway, and and he acted like a zombie, and like I think Jay said he like ran all the way home and hid under his bed and or just under the covers and whatever, and just fucking crazy, man. Like, oh shit. I mean, you got the 100, so that's good. And there's one thing on YouTube that this had nothing to do with Saturday Night Live, but it's especially they did for, I think it was HBO or Showtime or something like that, where it just go on YouTube, put in Chris Farley picking up girls in the mall. And I'm telling you, it's some of the funniest shit you will ever see. It's one of the funniest things. I always recommend this to people. Like, oh, can you recommend something on YouTube? By the way, like how many people have, I know I've wasted at least a year of my life just basically on YouTube, but it's well worth it. And it's just one of the funniest things you will ever see in your life. And it's just Chris Farley picking up girls in the mall, basically what it's called. And, he's good friends with Tom Arnold. And he was actually his best man at his wedding. And it shows like him in the van, almost like actually if you think about it, I think this is just before True Lies. So yeah, just picture that basically, except I don't know, Chris Farley is the agent there, but no, he's just going into the mall there and he's just trying to pick up women. At one point he's peeling an orange with a woman. At one point he just yells at a woman for no reason. He's playing the piano in one of the stores. It's just fucking hilarious. I mean, it really is some of the funniest shit you will ever see in your life.
Hey Chris, that's not working. Now let's go a little more aggressive on this one, okay?
Holy shit!
God, you're beautiful.
Bye-bye.
All right, let me just... this is just like a few seconds of what he did in almost like 5 minutes. But this poor woman just walks by, just minding her own fucking business. And Farley just looks at her, just yells at her. And she just like jumped a foot in the air. Like, oh man, fucking funny. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I did the same thing at Second City. We were like warming up one time. And I don't know, like a lot of times I just couldn't get into the warm up. I had a teacher tell me like, try to get into the warm-up. It helps you, and he's right. But a lot of times I just didn't know what to do. And then this like woman who was like, I don't know, 5'2", maybe 90 pounds. She's, just, starts the scene. Holy shit! God, you're beautiful. And she just like was so freaked out. It just like ended the skit. Like they went to the next two people. Fuck. But, yeah, this is hilarious. So again, Chris Farley picking up chicks at the mall on YouTube. You will trust me. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm gonna get to this in a little bit. But yeah, again with Mike Myers. Obviously, we all know that he's the one that played Shrek in the movie Shrek. Obviously, it was supposed to be for Chris Farley. But the funny thing is when he first saw the model, and again I'm going to get into this a little later on, but when he first saw the first model of Shrek, like he looks at it and he goes, this was for Chris Farley, wasn't it? And people were like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. And it turns out that obviously it was offered to Chris Farley before. He already worked on it, whatever, did laid down a lot of the tracks for it, and nobody told Mike Myers, like he was offered to Chris first. And and Mike was a little pissed off at that, because, he was like, dude, I wanted to know, like, who, him and Chris were really close. And there's a good story, too, where, actually, there's a great documentary called I Am Chris Farley. I think it was on, was it Spike TV there? Yeah, it's pretty, and again, everyone's, just telling the life of Chris Farley. Everyone's there, telling their stories and all that. And at one point, Mike Myers is like, yeah, a lot of times before, an episode of Saturday Night Live, I just take a shower, just get ready for, whatever. And almost like I think every time that he took a shower before Saturday Night Live, Farley would somehow get into his dressing room and bust in the shower with Mike naked and just just try to like hug him and kiss him and like even Mike said that he would like tuck all his shit back in, his dick, his balls, all that, like kind of like a Silence of the Lambs thing, and just trying to go, oh, I love you, and Mike's like, like it's probably my fault because I didn't think he would do it every time, but like he should have seen it coming, but. I mean, it's just the way Chris was. So, yeah, it's, I mean, they had a really good relationship. So, yeah, it was just, it would be weird. I mean, you're getting on for a job, and then all of a sudden you look at a thing there, and you're like, wow, that looks like my buddy. It had to be for him, right? So, yeah, he was a little disappointed that no one told him that. I don't know why they wouldn't tell him that. I mean, I don't know, maybe they thought it would have changed his mind or whatever. He thought he was taking work from, someone who passed away, but I don't know, still, I mean, he's got a right to know, so. And then, David Spade at one point said, they were in talks of doing a third movie together. Now, as I mentioned before, he did do Lost and Found. It was supposed to be Chris Farley in there. Instead, it was Artie Lang. Very funny comedian. I love Artie. I've done a podcast on him as well. He's awesome. But yeah, I'm assuming that's what he was talking about. It was never really made clear. Maybe they're going to do another movie on top of that, or, I find it hard to believe that it would have been only two things. I mean, they were pretty good together. I mean, listen, both movies did not get the best reviews. And Tommy Boy is better than Black Sheep. We all know that. But Black Sheep is still a funny movie. But again, I'm going to get more into that later. But yeah, also, David Spade would, always look out for Farley as well, because, they're good buddies and all that. And at the same time, David Spade would always wonder, like, who are these people that Chris Farley would bring around? I mean, you could tell these are kind of shady people and whatever, and people that would know, he thought probably that would not usually hang around with Chris Farley, so he was always kind of weary of that, and you just want, and like I said, I know Farley had his demons and all that, and he was always, trying to, make the best of a bad situation and all that, but I mean, I think he had a lot of good people, including the people that he worked with on Saturday Night Live, just, trying to watch his back, so. Spade was always just a little weary of these people that he's basically never seen before, and all of a sudden, they want, they're part of Farley's life, and I don't know, it didn't look like it was in a good way. And, like I said, him and Spade were really close, and, Spade even admits he did not go to the funeral. He just said it was so painful, he just didn't want to go. And, I'll be honest with you. I mean, a lot of people will look at that and go, oh, my God, like, how could you not go to the guy? But you know what? I get that. I'm not going to lie to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I've been to a few funerals because of the exact same reason. It's just too painful. I'm going to get into a podcast about funerals one day. And anyways, I don't see the point. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I get how immediate family wants to go there and all that. But, and you want to pay your respects. I get that. But I don't know. In a way of, I mean, do you really want to remember the person like that? And like, I get it, like it sounds like, oh, you think you're better than the person or whatever. It's not. I mean, like in Spade's case, I completely understand. You know what I mean? You don't want to remember someone like that or see someone like that. And, you want to pay your respects on, your own time, maybe by yourself, when there's not like tons of paparazzi taking your picture and, because obviously that's what happened at, Farley's funeral there. I mean, there's shots online. You can see, like, they're just outside there, shots of the cars going down the road and all that. It must have been crazy. So, and if you, if you get a little maybe panicky or whatever, I'm not saying Spade does. I mean, who knows? But I wouldn't blame him. I don't blame him. I'm just saying that. So, I feel for him and everybody and his family and friends. And, I mean, that must have been a tough day for everybody. So, but, like I said, he was able to do some great work still. One of my favorite movies, favorite comedies. A lot of people, again, all my favorite comedies get, shit for. I don't know why. That's how I know they're good. Okay, Animal House got bad reviews too, and it's the best movie of all time. Okay, best comedy anyway. But I'm just saying. Anyways, on the set of Dirty Work, which was Chris Farley's last movie, he only worked on the movie for about a week and a half. And yeah, unfortunately, 2 months later, after that movie, he, passed away. And Artie Lang, who I mentioned before, was in Lost and Found with Spade. He was in the movie also with Dirty Work. And, they were able to hang out all together at a strip club in Toronto called the Brass Rail. Now, I think I've told everyone this before. I grew up in good old Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This is the first strip club I ever went to. I always made a joke back in the day. We would go to Brass Taps on Danforth and then go to Brass Rail on just down the little subway away. And that's it, and just have a good time. So, yeah, and don't feel bad. Like, if you want to know what the Brass Rail looked like back then, it pretty much looks the same now. I'm almost positive they have the same pictures up there of the girls since 2002. So, but it's cool. Yeah, so they all hanging out there one day, one night, whatever, and Farley, of course, loved the strip clubs. What guy doesn't? Had a whole bunch of girls on his arm. And Artie described it as like a hurricane coming into the room. Like, he just, go nuts and, just, build everybody up, whatever. And of course, and it was him, Artie Lang, Norm Macdonald, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, and Bruce Smith. At the time, he played for the Buffalo Bills. Now, I don't know dick all about football. I don't know much about this guy. I'm just assuming... All these dudes together in one room at the Brass Rail. God, I wish I was there for that. But, that must have been pretty awesome. So, Bruce is just chilling out, smoking a cigar. And, Farley just, he seemed like more of a chill guy, I guess. And, Chris Farley just kept going up to him going, "Oh, man, we're going to party tonight. Oh, it's going to be awesome, girls." And Bruce is just like, "Hey, man, just chill. Just, that's it, just relaxing." And, God, I wish I was there. But anyways, so, making the movie Dirty Work, most of it, I think, what was taped in Toronto. I think around the same time, 1997. I think around the same time they were making Half Baked, because there's one scene in Half Baked with Chappelle, of course, where they show, the old Sam the Record Man, where... the dude was feeding the horse there. What the fuck's his name? Harold, funny guy. Harlan Williams, just outside the Pizza there. Yeah, he was the dude that played the cop that drank the piss in Dumb and Dumber. Remember him? Yeah, he's a funny guy. Butternuts, buttercup. Anyways, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So, the actress in the movie Dirty Work, her name was Trailer Howard. Okay, she was also in Two Girls, a Guy, or Two Girls, a Guy in a Pizza Place. I don't know. They shortened the name for some reason. I don't know. And then her boyfriend at the time was Mr. Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, because he was on the show too, right? So they were going out, so he would show up on set. And I think at the time, Chris Farley kind of had a crush on her, and he was trying to get with her, and I think he was kind of jealous that Ryan Reynolds was with her, and he, again, classic Farley, I don't know, I don't know if he's doing this just to fuck with him or he's just angry or whatever, but he would just see Ryan from a distance and just go, Ryan, how you doing, Ryan, and he would put his he would put his hands up like he was gay, and it's he's like, "Kiss me, Ryan, kiss me, you queer, oh, kiss me." Yeah, I know it's bad saying this today, but I'm just saying, I'm just picturing Ryan Reynolds, what the fuck is going on, he was just jealous that Ryan got the trailer there, and he would just and Farley would just make jokes, let's beat up Ryan and get bang trailer, and whatever, and he would just but he would still always tease Ryan Reynolds, he was like, "Get me some coffee and in your pink leg warmers, get me a what's he talking about?" It was crazy. So, I think that's the only problem that Deadpool had to face, on a movie set. But other than that, that's it. But And then there's a story where Chris Farley did mushrooms, with a bunch of people, and he was just tripping out, just sitting in a chair, and then all of a sudden, like, he just threw up like all over himself, and like everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And then he just looks at everybody and he goes, "I guess I'm full." So, I mean, I've never done shrooms, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to throw anything up I've eaten, so fuck it. I talked about before when Chris Farley would do improv. Sometimes he would just, do it again randomly with people. And, sometimes he would just come up with shit, of course. But sometimes he would just go on stage and just go, I got nothing. And that's it. Now, Farley would go on, some heavy binges. I mean, one time with Spade was saying he went on a 3-day binge. And I think they were supposed to meet up with like Steve Martin and Lauren Michaels, just to talk about whatever. And Spade was like, "Listen, we can't do this." I mean, so he just kind of like snuck him out the back or whatever, and just said, "Look, man, we'll we'll just tell him something, and we'll just make it for another day. Don't worry about it." And Jim Brewer. Really funny guy. I always liked him. Very good stand-up as well. Also in Half Baked. He was the guy that worked at the record store. He also did Goat Boy on Saturday Night Live. He said he got the idea because when he was a kid, he would go to the zoo and just get high and just laugh at the goats or whatever the animals, like just laughing at him, like good dude. Also, thank you for bringing Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci live on Saturday Night Live. That's fucking awesome. For that alone, you're a legend. But yeah, he would go in there when Chris Farley was going to host, and again, he just came in there like Chris Farley, and he just went up to Brewer and he said, "I know you got weed," and like you could tell he was kind of going through withdrawals at the time, and like Chris Rock was supposed to be a backup host, like for that episode. I mean, it was, man, that was crazy. But and then at one point, like Brewer said, like he was just in a room with him, whatever, and. Like he literally just put a huge pile of Coke on the table, and he's with a bunch of girls. One of them was named Bambi, if you could believe it. And Jim's like, "Man, I'm good," and he just went home. And then at one point, Chris Farley called him, and he just asked him. He said, like, "Jimmy, am I funny, or am I just a big stupid guy? I can't get girls," and just a whole thing. Like he talked to him for like a good 45 minutes to an hour, just telling him, "Look, man, you're funny," and it just I hate hearing that, because I mean, like even Farley, I don't think Farley really understood how fucking funny he was, man. I mean, like but he still had that like insecurity, like like am I really funny? People laughing at me or with me, all that, and but I mean, I don't know, man. To me, he was a funny motherfucker. I mean, it's just sad to hear that. That's all, and they put me in sketches, because I'm a fat, stupid guy, and all this shit, and it's just, I don't know. It sucks to hear that. That's all. But like Artie Lang at one point was. Like was told to watch Chris Farley at one point. I'm assuming this was on the set of Dirty Work, which if anybody knows Artie Lang's history, I mean, to watch, I mean, it's just like for Artie Lang to watch, like I love Artie, don't get me wrong, but for Artie Lang to watch Chris Farley, it's almost like asking Mussolini to keep an eye on Hitler. It just doesn't, it's just stupid, but anyways, and then at one point, like, he, and this is where he always gives Norm Macdonald his props for being so quick, with a joke and whatever. So at one point, like they're at a bar or whatever, they're out. And then one point he, like he tells Norm Macdonald, he's like, "Norm, I don't want you to be mad or nothing, but I just saw Chris Farley going to the bathroom with Andy Dick. And there's only two reasons why a guy goes into the bathroom with Andy Dick. And Norm Macdonald right away says, "Oh my God, I hope he's high." That's great. So yeah, man. Man, rest in peace to Norm Macdonald again. I mean, that guy's fucking awesome. But yeah, it's yeah, they were probably doing coke. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, there's that one picture online, if you can look it up, where you see, I don't know who's driving the car, some woman, and then Chris Farley's in the front and Andy Dick's in the back, and it just looks like, I don't know, almost like the scariest road trip ever. But yeah, I don't know, what are you gonna do? And like even Norm Macdonald would always tell Farley. I mean, we all know Farley loved Belushi. He idolized him, but Norm would always tell him, like, look, you're funnier than Belushi. Like you know, and he always said, like, he would always make, you know, somebody laugh. It doesn't matter if they're a good person, bad person, or just someone who didn't appreciate silly comedy or just whatever. Like he was always able to make somebody laugh, and you know. Like I said before, the story with his dad, I mean, his dad at one point reached like 600 pounds, you know, and, you know, he would walk with his dad sometimes and like just, you know, he could hear people saying comments about his dad. And, you know, of course, that's, yeah, man, that's, you know, it's going to fuck with you. You know what I mean? And I get it, you know, so yeah, I mean, that also sucks too. He had to go through that. And, you know, Norm Macdonald also said that, like, it's weird because a lot of people didn't know he had this, like, second life of, you know, like, helping people in soup kitchens and, you know, like, he actually had a real friend named Matt Foley. Now, you know, obviously we all know Matt Foley, motivational speaker. It was the guy was a real guy. He wasn't that guy that we saw, and he was just, you know, but the real name was... from his buddy, Matt Foley. He was actually a priest, if you could believe that. So, yeah, you know, and, yeah, you know, he'd always, you know, help him out as well. And, yeah, it was just a good little thing, you know, but I don't know. Joey Diaz, who I love too, is a great comedian. Thank God for a guy like Joe Rogan. I mean, I did a podcast about Joe Rogan, not to promote myself, you know, I'm not that person. But, you know, I mean, if it wasn't for a lot of these, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know a lot of these guys, like, you know, guys like Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, you know, Joey Diaz, one of them, a great storyteller. And they were at some strip club, like stripper, I can't read my own writing here. It had to be somewhere in New York, maybe. Something. Anyways, but... and he saw him like 2 or 3 weeks before he died. And, you know, he saw him coming out. He was by himself in the strip club. And he just remember him being like really sweaty. He just, you know, he just didn't look good. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's just, it sucks that they had to see him like that. And then, yeah, he said 3 weeks later, you know, he was dead. So it sucks to see him like that, you know. But, again, like I said, you know, a lot of people still carry his name out there, and, you know, a guy like Adam Sandler, you know, he's got the special on Netflix, 100% Fresh, you know, which is a whole joke on, you know, his movie's not rating so well with, what is it, Fresh Tomatoes there, or whatever, Tomato Fresh, whatever the fuck it's called, who cares? It's owned by Paramount, guys. A lot of people don't know that, okay? So, you know, if a movie comes out with Paramount, it's got a 100% rating, it's, you know why. But anyways, Sandler's the man. I don't give a fuck. But anyways, yeah, you know, so he does a tribute song to Chris Farley in that. It's a great song. I mean, he was able to perform it on that special. And when Adam Sandler came back to host in 2019 on Saturday Night Live, he ended the show with that same song. And in the background, there's visuals of, you know, Farley doing his thing on Saturday Night Live and just making people laugh. And, you know, I thought that was really nice. He did that. It's a really nice and touching song. You know. And even a guy like Conan O'Brien, you know, I mean, he would show up, Chris Farley would show up there a couple of times. He did a funny thing with him and Adam Sandler there, you know, going back and forth in the audience there. And, you know, he did one sketch called, not even a sketch, like just he sings a song called Falling Clown. And then at the end, he's trying to escape through the background there, the drapes, whatever, and he can't find the opening, which I'm not going to lie to you, I've had trouble with that as well. It's it always does look funny, and Farley does a huge exaggeration of it. It falls on him, he gets wrapped in it, and like always a showman, so he always did a great job with that. And Bob Odenkirk, who did originally write the sketch for Matt Foley all the way back to Second City. That's when Chris Farley did that sketch originally. And, eventually they did do it on Saturday Night Live. Classic sketch, we all know that. But even Robert Smigel, who a lot of people don't know, is Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. I mean, he showed up in a lot of things with Adam Sandler and everyone there. He didn't like the fact that, like, at the end of the sketch, he went into the table. Like, he thought that was a little too much, But, I mean, overall, I mean, it is a classic sketch. We all know that. But, yeah, even with Bob there, I talked about it recently on the Bob Odenkirk podcast I did. He went to a whole thing on Howard Stern there and talking about how when he did the Chippendale skit, it was, I mean, it's a great skit, don't get me wrong, obviously, but like he felt it was one of his first sketches he ever did on Saturday Night Live, but it was just too, it played too much on him being fat, and a lot of people thought it was just like this is almost his first thing he's done on Saturday Night Live, almost the first thing he's doing to introduce himself, like into the world, and it was too much, like poking, too much fun of him being fat and all that. But I thought he killed it. I mean, I don't, I mean, as a fat man, I definitely appreciated like what he did, and I was definitely laughing with him, not at him. I understand that. You take your shirt off as a fat guy, you will get some stares. Let's just say that. But it's one of those things where he did it with such confidence, I felt, and that's what made the sketch really good. Like, it wasn't like he was, trying to cover up at any point or rushing off stage or whatever. Although Bob said at one point when he ripped off the shirt and he threw it down, he said he saw a little hesitation, but I don't know. I mean, maybe that's true, but again, it's one of those things where you got to go all the way with it. If you don't, it's going to look bad. They can smell fear on you. It's like when you're doing stand-up. If you stop, if you stutter, if you're not fully confident with it, especially when you're dealing with nudity, and especially when you don't look like Patrick Swayze, you got to go all the way with it. If you don't, you're just going to look bad. And I thought Chris Farley did, a great job with it. So that's just my opinion, as a fellow fat man. So I hope that, means something. Now, speaking of things that have meanings, I said before the whole thing with the Playboy jizz, that's definitely one of my favorite stories with Chris Farley. But you know what? Here's another one. It's so out there. So Artie Lang was giving this interview with Tom Green, and of course they're talking about working with him and dirty work and all that. And at one point, he said he's never told this story before, and he said when somewhere in, I think he said San Francisco or something, Chris Farley saw a homeless woman, and he said for 5 nights or 5 days, whatever, he put her in a 5-star hotel, and he cleaned her up, and he would just get blowjobs from her, and and it got to a point where, like, I think the woman didn't want to, like, blow him anymore or whatever, and then he just said, "Hit the road, bitch." Jesus. I know this looks bad, like, in today's world, but I mean, this is insane. Like, and then at one point, like, Artie's like, "Man, I'm sorry for telling that story. It's the first time I ever told it. Chris, I hope you forgive me if you're up or down." Jeez, or it just adds like more shit. I mean, oh man, Artie, I love you. I mean, you got to get that podcast going again, man. You're too funny not to do anything. Like, I know you're taking time off for yourself right now, but I don't know, man. The world needs Artie. But anyways, I mean that that is crazy. I mean, oh Christ. Oh, and for all the guys out there wondering what she looks like, I have no idea. I'm wondering that too. Okay, let's just be honest. Okay, we're all thinking it. Okay, it's just, come on. But anyways, I mean, that was, he helped her out for 5 days, I guess. I don't know, what are you gonna do? So yeah, yeah, I mentioned this before. Chris did go out with one of Lauren's assistants. And yeah, at one point, it didn't work out. She dumped him. And it was funny because at one point he said to David Spade, he said, you know what, man? It doesn't matter. Because you know why? Because I'm richer, smarter, and more famous. And David Spade, I mean, the classic, prick that he is, he says, oh, sorry, man, you're 0 for 3. It was Steve Martin. And he's right. But still, man, I mean, like, Steve Martin's the man. I mean, I don't know. If Steve Martin stole my girl, I'd be okay with that, Martin Short, that's a different story. No, I'm kidding. I love Martin Short. Proud Canadian. I love you, motherfucker. Okay? I love you. But, Three Amigos, fucking awesome. Yeah. But, yeah, listen. He did end up going with a girl that was in the pool scene in Tommy Boy. I didn't know that till years later either. Yeah, so she was cute. Yeah, but so there you go, man. Things work out. And it was funny too because he's like, I ain't crawling back, and like, classic Farley. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think he said that. Now, as I mentioned before, David Spade and Chris Farley, it's like peanut butter and jelly. It just goes so well together. And at one point, David even said that they were the fatty and skinny of the 90s. There's a good clip of them on Jay Leno there. I think that's the cars. And how many cars should a man have? I mean, really, I don't know. Jay Leno, listen. The point is, they did a lot of funny shit on there. Whenever they showed up together on shows, it was always good. So, and this story I love because this shows how much, a side that a lot of people don't see with Farley, because Farley was always, a good dude, and a lot of people always said that, and maybe a lot of people, couldn't see that because of the, overshadowing of his, partying and binge and whatever. But Olivia Wilde, lovely woman, was on Howard Stern one day, and she told a great story involving Chris Farley. Now, what happened was, for her birthday treat, this is how cool her parents are. I don't know. I think I got a few balloons on my birthday. But anyways, I'm kidding. I got a cake. I'm a fat kid. Don't worry. It's gonna happen. So she went to SNL as a kid, and she said the episode that she showed up on. Actually, I found this interesting too. Is that Heather Locklear was hosting, Janet Jackson was the musical guest, and Jennifer Lopez at the time was one of her backup dancers. Nice. So, okay. And then at one point, she's just by herself there. I think it was like whatever. Maybe it was the after party after, who knows. But she's there, she's at the crafts table, whatever. And, she was a little bit of a chubby kid, she said. I found her to believe. I mean, she's very, I don't know, maybe she just grew out of it. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I'm still waiting for my skinny face. But anyways, she's there eating a brownie, and, she's a little self-conscious about it. And then Chris Farley goes, to the table and sees her. And, like he says hello to her, and, and then he starts eating a brownie. And he eats it really fast. And then, like, he eats another brownie. And then at one point, he stuffs, like, 10 brownies in his mouth. And he's just, like, pounding them in his mouth, And she explains, like, the reason why he did that is because, like, he could see how insecure, she was at the time, just eating a brownie. I'm not gonna lie, like, when you're a young fat kid, you kind of, you just got a feeling someone's looking at you and going, have another one, fatty. It just, like, to me, it only happened every 5 minutes. But, Farley saw that, and I thought that was so sweet. He went in there and he recognized that, like, he just wanted to make her feel better, so he started, just over-exaggerating it, and it just made her feel better about herself. So I thought that was cool. And this is something that a lot of people probably don't know, or probably don't see that side of Chris Farley, because people will say, oh, he's sweet and whatever, he does a lot of good things. But I just thought this was a really sweet story when I saw it. So, there you go. On a side note, I don't think her and Jason Sudeikis are going out anymore, but Sudeikis, oh, no, I think she said while she was on the Howard Stern show, she said that she, when they first met, they exchanged, she gave him her number, and then he didn't call her for a whole month. So learn from that, guys. I mean, don't call right away. Take your time. Just say, She was on the OC too for a while. I didn't know that either. I didn't find it till years later. Yeah, I didn't. It's a crazy world, right? I know. Who doesn't like a good brownie? Jesus. But anyways, and then like I said, when it's so many clips you can look up. Of Chris Farley on late night shows. David Letterman. I love him. To me, he's the best host of all time. Once he retired, it's like that's it. And then I like Stephen Colbert, but I don't know, when I see him dancing, going out I don't know. And again, Stephen, I love you, but first of all, I don't know why you're denying your French. Second, this isn't a character, okay? Stop when you did the whatever show on Comedy Central, you said you were doing a character. That's bullshit, okay? It's you, it's cool. I hate it when actors go out there and say, oh, I'm doing a character. Fuck off, okay? Just say, look, I was having a bad day, I was being a dick, okay? But I'm gonna, chalk it up to my, mentalness. That's it. Just say that. Just be honest, okay? Don't say I'm doing a character or whatever, okay? You're a funny guy. Be nuts all the time. You want to, be nuts and make out with Helen Meredith, you lucky bastard? Go ahead. I don't care. She's a good-looking older woman. I don't know. That's it. Where am I going with this? I don't know. But the point is, see, we all have our mental breaks. Okay, so, and then at one point, David Letterman's talking to Chris Farley about his parents, and, Chris is so sweet. He's like, David, I put them through hell. My parents know. And then at one point he takes a tissue, he starts wiping his cheek, and he sees something on there, and then literally just gives him a kiss. And everyone starts going nuts, and Chris is like, oh, I made it, I did it, oh, that's great, so I thought that was a cool move by Letterman. So there you go. Don Cherry did it to Doug Gilmore, why not? Anyways, so like I said before, Rob Lowe, was in Tommy Boy there. Cool dude. I believe, I'm pretty sure he's the first guy to ever make the first celebrity porn tape, wasn't he? I think he was, right? This is way before Pam and Tommy. And way before Pam and Bret Michaels. He was, Brat Pack, man. But anyways, he told a funny story when he was on Tommy Boy there. He said that Bo Derek cut her hair because I don't know, she was kind of she wasn't making movies for a while, but then the husband didn't want her to look as good in movies. That's why he forced her to cut the hair. If that's true, man, that's fucked up, man. That's great. She's joke's on him because she still looked pretty fucking good. But but anyways, Chris Farley and David would always fight over him, and it just they actually took him to the Barbarian Steakhouse in Toronto. Now, what's funny is I've never heard of this place, and there's $4 next to the name, which is a really good reason why I've never heard of this place, because I'm just assuming that means I can't afford it. So, but yeah, they would just fight over him all the time, who was his good friend and whatever. And like I mentioned before, they went out one day, they didn't invite Chris. Chris was pissed off the next day, and I don't know, who's gonna go in the jacuzzi, whatever. It's a whole thing there. I don't know. It was crazy, but I don't know. Rob Lowe's a cool dude. And then Joe Rogan, he said one day he was doing news radio, and he showed up one day with Andy Dick, and he was just honest. Joe's always honest. He said his skin looked like gray, wet cardboard. Wow, that's crazy. So I don't know, man. Whenever he teams up with Andy Dick, it's not good. I'm pretty sure when anybody teams up with Andy Dick, it's not good. But shit. Unless he teams up with Todd Phillips. He was funny in Road Trip and Old School. So There you go. That just shows how talented Todd Phillips is. I mean, I've always said this. Like, he'll bring people that are like, I don't know, like maybe from C-level, level talent to like, and bring them to the next level. I mean, ask the people in Old School and Hangover. Enough said. Okay, Bradley Cooper, easy, ladies. Yeah, he's killing it. So there you go. Yeah, and then Tim Meadows, I found a good interview he did with Andy Richter, who I love both those dudes, very funny guys. When him and Farley were, coming up together at Second City, and yeah, like he just remembers times where, he would just, I mean, like when you're coming up in comedy and the comedy world, you just sleep over at people's places, whatever. You sleep on someone's couch, the night before, maybe they chill, whatever, or just, whatever, get ready for the night before. And then he would just say he would just fall asleep on, his floor until 6 p.m. Then he'd go home, shower, and then you'd see him later on at the Second City. But he said at the time, like, he wasn't drinking or no drugs, nothing. He was just, doing his own thing, and, he got really choked up at one point. Like at the time, he's, and even, it got a little emotional, man. It really did. Like even Andy Ricker was like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry for bringing this up." He's like, "No, that's cool. Don't worry about it." And he misses his buddy, of course. He grew up with him, and during Second City and all that, and and at one point, like like when they both got hired, for Second City, like he even Chris went to Tim Meadows and said, "Look, Timmy, can you believe this? We're on Saturday Night Live, That's crazy, and then he gives him a hug and all that. And, it's just, Farley loved entertaining people. Like, this is what I get from all, like, 3 pages of these stories that I looked up, and I tried to find, like, everything I could, ladies and gentlemen. I really did. I'm sure there's a lot more out there, but, from what I get from just all these stories, is like, in the end, he really loved entertaining people. I mean, really just made him happy, and a lot of it was, involved a simple thing like eating a brownie, pleasing someone. Sometimes involved a lot of jizz, but in the end, he just loved making people laugh. I mean, that's what I got from all these stories. And of course, he loved entertaining people with, movies, television, all that. So, of course, said it before and I'll say it again, fuck Rotten Tomatoes. I stick with IMDb. So, let's do this. So, the very first movie that Chris Farley was in was a little movie called Wayne's World. And he played a security guard. That's it. Just a simple security guard. He had one scene in there. Very simple. He wasn't in it for very long, maybe like a minute, maybe 2. I mean, I haven't seen Wayne's World in a while. All I can say is this, Mike Myers, I love you. I did a podcast on Mike Myers there, so, you can check that one out if you like. But this is a great movie, great comedy. What's funny about this scene that Chris Farley is in is that at one point, he's using his hands, whatever, just explaining, what's going on, whatever, to the boys there, to Wayne and Garth. And at one point, he's supposed to point right at the camera, and he clearly missed his mark. He points, and then he moves his arms over. So they could have edited that. I mean, he could have done that again, but they thought it was funny, so they just left it in there. So he actually fucked up. But again, a lot of times when you fuck up in comedy, it could be even better than what's written in the script. So good little role to have. You work with a lot of cool people there, working with his, SNL buddies there. Great cast of people. Tia Carrere, oh, lovely woman. The point is, great movie, classic comedy, good way to start your career. Absolutely. Then he was in the Jackie Thomas Show. The Jackie, okay. With Tom Arnold, okay. 4.9 out of 10. Okay. Listen, you're good friends with Tom Arnold. You help your buddies out. There you go. I don't know what this is. Jackie Thomas, played by Tom Arnold, is a famous stand-up comic starring in his own sitcom called The Jackie Thomas Show. Meanwhile, backstage, he's a loudmouth tyrant, but with a heart. Ah, I see. Didn't last long, only 18 episodes. Okay. I don't know. I've never seen this. Sorry, guys. Never seen this. Seen a lot of the people that are in this movie, or show, sorry. Yeah, a lot of familiar faces, actually. Dennis Boots Sikaris? He looks familiar. I've seen this guy in something. What about? I don't know, he's one of these dudes. He looks familiar, but then you see him in something. What the fuck have I seen this guy in? Oh yeah, he was in Better Call Saul. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. That's right. Okay. Beckenmeyer. Yeah. Just talked about Road Trip. Awesome. Paul Feig, who we all know is a famous director right now. There you go. Martin Mull. We all know him from Roseanne. Roseanne Barr showed up a few episodes here and there. Fred Willard. Rest in peace to him. Yeah. Okay. Once again, I never saw this. But again, it just, guys, you want to get your feet wet. Try to be in as much as you can in the beginning there. Get the ball rolling there. It's all good. Actually, I'm pretty sure I heard a thing where he did the sketch before, like I was talking about him going to the mall, picking up chicks. Then, or before or after, he went on the Jackie Thomas Show. And then I think afterwards he went to rehab again, like right after he did these two things, or before or something like that. I mean, like, he was just it was just a crazy schedule he had. I mean, jeez. He had a lot going on at once, for sure, guys. That's for sure. But he still, helped out his friends. Then he showed up in an episode of Roseanne. Again, he's literally listed. He doesn't have a name. He's just his man in clothing store. That's it. But he's, like, you see this on YouTube. It's like literally like he's in it for like 20 seconds, not even. He's trying to. Again, it's almost like a pre-fat guy in a little coat kind of thing before Tommy Boy. He's trying to get on this leather jacket and he can't get it on, but still, like, he's in it for such a short amount of time, and he still gets a huge laugh. You know what I mean? So it tells you right there, like, I mean, the impact this guy had. You know what I mean? So there you go. And then another movie he did called Coneheads. Now, one day I will do a podcast about Dan Aykroyd. I love that man. To me, Ghostbusters alone, I will love that man forever, but so much more, of course. The problem with Coneheads, I mean, this movie, the skit, or the idea comes from a skit from Saturday Night Live that Dan Aykroyd had. I think how he got the idea was he was just watching TV late at night. He saw some guy with like a pointy head. And he said to himself, how funny would it be if it was like if it was like that much taller, like if he had a huge pointy head. That's where Coneheads came from. Funny skit on Saturday Night Live. A lot of skits, they make into movies from Saturday Night Live. This one, it was okay. Lot of people in it. I mean, if you look at the cast, it is insane. I mean, technically, this is the first movie that Chris Farley did with David Spade. So, if you want to count that as one of their movies, but I mean, there's a ton of people in this movie, but, good characters, just not much of a story. That's the problem with this movie. And again, no disrespect to Dan Aykroyd, the story wasn't there, and again, it is hard to make that skit into a full-length movie, but I don't know, I liked it. I mean, I still enjoy watching it from time to time. I mean, like I said, there's tons of, people in here, like tons of people from Saturday Night Live, old, new cast, all that. And it is an interesting watch. I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's as good as, the skits on Saturday Night Live. That's all. No disrespect. But, again, Chris Farley was in. He played Ronnie the mechanic. He was funny in this. He definitely had more than one scene. I thought it was pretty good. The one scene where like he makes out with her, and it's almost like a plunger. It's pretty crazy, but it's a decent little movie. Who's the woman again? Was it Parker Posey? Yeah, I think it was Parker Posey, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was. I think I'm right. But anyways, yeah. So when you got a chance, check this movie out. Jane Curtin. She was the mother on Saturday Night Live, the skit there, but yeah. Yeah. I would check it out just for shits and gigs. I'm not gonna lie. So there you go. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Soul to Squeeze music video. He was the carnival boss. Shit, I don't even remember that. Wow, really? Okay. I don't remember that song by Red Hot Chili. I mean, huh. I don't remember that. Carnival boss. 1 second, folks. Okay, so I just checked out the video. Love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't remember this specific song, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably from the Conehead soundtrack. Because at one point there is a moment where a guy dressed up with the Conehead gets shot out of a cannon. It's like a whole carnival thing. And you got Farley there as the Carney there, the carnival boss there, smoking a cigar. So there you go. Good little song. 78 million views as of 11 years ago. Yeah, not bad. Always like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Always a good bunch of dudes. Flea seems like a good dude. But he was in one of the Back to the Future movies, wasn't he? Yeah. Was that the second one or third one? When he calls him a chicken and he's like, no, I'm not falling for that again. Anyways, yeah. So, yeah. Good little movie. Good little soundtrack. Cool. Then he was on the Larry Sanders Show. Now, Larry Sanders Show, one of the best shows of all time. I mean, basically every episode had like someone, like a cameo, that person playing themselves because it was a talk show, obviously. I mean, Gary Shandling, we miss you, man. A very funny guy. Jeffrey Tambor. Rip Torn, list goes on, guys. I mean, but yeah, Farley was in one of these episodes, and I haven't watched the show for a while, but yeah, like I said, it's a very good show, very good show. If you got the chance, check it out. It's really funny. And you know what? If you're in Wayne's World 1, why not be in Wayne's World 2? Party time, excellent, fuck yeah. And then he doesn't play the guard this time. He plays one of the I guess a sound check guy or whatever. What do you call it? The fucking Lebowski was a roadie, whatever. I get whatever. He played Milton, not the guy from Office Space. Yeah, so different character. Wayne's World 2 was all right. I mean, I still like it. Obviously, you're not going to top the first one. I still feel, Mr. Myers, I love you. You got to do one more. Please do one more. Make it a trifecta. I know it's been years, but come on, man. I didn't even know him and Dana Carvey had a beef until they ended. I'm one of these people. I'm completely out of it when it comes to people who hate each other and whatever, and until they resolve it and they go, "You guys were fighting, really? Okay." Christopher Walken kills it. So yeah. So like I said. Farley's in this one. He definitely has a bigger role in this one. Still funny, Like I said, you like the first one, you like the second one. First one's still better, but still. Wayne's World 2, we need another Wayne's World, okay? Are we going to get another Shrek? Who knows? Are we going to get another Austin Powers? Who knows? But I think it's very possible that we can get another Wayne's World. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Then he was in the a show called Tom. It was a TV series. I'm guessing, yeah, I was right. It's based on Tom Arnold. There you go. Now listen, I should say this. I think Tom Arnold's a good dude. I really do. I know a lot of people they don't like him because of the whole association with Roseanne. A lot of people don't like Roseanne. They didn't like when they were together. I know he had his problems too with the drugs and all that, and I can't I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't imagine Tom Arnold on coke. I just can't, because every time I see him in an interview, he's very he talks fast. He's always thinking. So I can't imagine that times fucking 30 on coke. I mean, forget it. His head must literally go on fire. But I mean. I swear, I'm not ripping on the guy. I think he's a good dude. He killed it in True Lies. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Listen, that's another movie they got to make, is another True Lies too. I probably sound like I'm on coke now too. I'm not. I'm just tired. The point is, okay, again, these two were really close, Tom and Chris. So why not help out your buddy? So what was this? Tom Arnold plays a character named Tom. It's a bit of a stretch. a blue-collar working living in a trailer down by the river. No. With his wife and 5 children. Holy shit. Okay. You know what? If I had 5 kids, I'd probably be on coke too. No, come on. The point is, didn't last long. I don't think it did. Yeah, 12 episodes. Looks like one of those things where they made 12, but they only aired 9. I don't know. Then I'm along the 90s. I don't know. They'd make all these episodes, and then there'd always be that one lost episode and whatever. And I don't know, 4.3 out of 10. I don't expect to see it anytime soon. But yeah, again, you help out your buddies, and that's it. Airheads. It's a movie he did. He plays a character named Wilson. Now, this is an underrated comedy. A lot of people do not know about this comedy. This is one of probably the first movies I ever saw Adam Sandler in, for sure. Brendan Fraser's in this. Recently he did a movie called The Whale or something. Apparently they're saying he's already going to get like at least a nomination for Best Actor for this. He might even win. This movie's like he got a 7-minute standing ovation or something at the Toronto Film Festival or something like that. But it's insane how many good reviews he's already getting. Like, I mean, this could be his big comeback, whatever. So I always liked Brendan Fraser. I always said he was a good dude. I heard a thing he has to pay $900,000. I said this many times before, and I know it sounds bad me mentioning it again and again. I don't care. Since 2007, he has to pay $900,000 a year, every year, to his wife, to his ex-wife. This is, I mean, you know what? I'd gain a couple pounds too, okay? You know, I'm just saying, I mean, that's too much, okay? I don't know who you are, lady, but you got to get a job, okay? You know, enough's enough already, okay? I get it. Like, you had 3 kids together, but, you know, come on. Unless these kids have diamond pacifiers, you know, like, fuck off. Get a job. I mean, come on. Stop it. Stop it. I mean, Brendan Fraser's a nice guy. He can't say that. Me, I'm just a dick. Just so, you know, you got to get your shit together. Anyways, Steve Buscemi's also in this, too. One of the first movies I ever saw him in. But this is a great comedy. I mean, he's got a lot of good people in this one too. Michael McKean, who we all know from again, another guy from Saturday Night Live, which by the way absolutely killed it in Better Call Saul as his brother. Fucking phenomenal job there. Ernie Hudson, Judd Nelson, Amy Locane, Nina C.M. Masco. I hope I said that right. She was the sister in License to Drive. I don't know if you guys remember that one. Now I'm dating myself. Marshall Bell, Reg E. Cathy, David Arquette, Joe Mantegna, Michael Richards, Alan Covert, Michelle Hurst, Lexi Bingham. Just awesome cast of people, really. And would you like to know what the movie's about? Sure. 3 band members hoping for a big break head to a radio station. Now, if you're a millennial listening to this, I'm going to explain to you what a radio is another time. To play their demo tape and wind up holding everyone hostage with plastic guns when the head DJ refuses to play them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, back in the day, we didn't have fancy things like SoundCloud where any Malaka, what's going on, can just upload their shit and stupid thoughts about random things like movies like this. No. We had to go into radio stations and other places and TV stations and try to just convince somebody, please play our shit, please. So, this is a great movie. I don't care what anybody says. 6.1 out of 10, fuck you. I'm going to say at least a 7, for sure. Funny movie. Chris Farley's great in it. There's a part where he just I mean the whole point of the movie is like he's a big cop, whatever. But again, there's one scene where like these bullets start flying, and the way Farley hits the ground, again, it shows like how athletic this guy. Like I didn't see anybody else in the movie move as fast as Farley. Like he hits the ground quick, then he gets up quick, you know, like he does, grabs his belt, you know, like he's so good. He really is. I mean, he's so underrated when it comes to his physical comedy. Like, people know about it, obviously, but I mean, he's really good at this. And there's one scene where he has to deal with somebody in a club there, and well, let's just say it's not a good idea to always wear a nipple ring when you're in a fight. But this is a great movie. I can't say that enough. Airheads came out in 1994. Definitely check it out. It's a funny movie. If you like Sandler, you love Steve Buscemi, Brendan Fraser, Farley, you'll like this movie. Trust me, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Then Billy Madison came. Okay. So, remember when I said before that, Lorne Michaels is a genius, and I do love him. Don't get me wrong. But the problem, when he fired all these guys, okay, Sandler was like, you know what? I got my own ideas. I'm still going to make movies. I'm still going to do what I got to do. And he did it. And, he did one movie where he was on a boat or something, and I think it's got one of the worst ratings on IMDb. I forgot what it was fucking called. But one of his first movies that he did with, I think it's the first movie he did with his own company. This was awesome. A lot of people consider this movie silly. I don't. It's fucking hilarious. Downtown, downtown. Shut up! Listen. Billy Madison is fucking awesome. Great movie. Chris Farley as the bus driver. He's not in it for a long time, but he is hilarious.
That Veronica Vaughn is one piece of ace. I know from experience, dude. You know what I mean?
No, you don't.
Well, not me personally, but a guy I know. Him and her got it on. Why?
Well, they didn't.
No, they didn't. But you can imagine what it'd be like if they did, right? Huh? Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful.
I watched that scene in a minute, but it's just funny because I don't know, I feel every time Sandler does something with Farley, it doesn't matter if it's in movies, it's Saturday Night Live, he's just always trying to hold in his laughter. Like, just every time. Like, I mean, they can do this shit like 100 times, it doesn't matter. But Farley killed it as the bus driver for sure. Again, not in it a lot, but enough where you remember him for sure. Again, very silly movie, but then again, silly is funny. Okay, like I was saying before with Lorne Michaels, I love you, but what happened was, he made a shit ton of money later on in Sandler with Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, and then The Waterboy came out. Ooh, forget it. Enough said. But these could have been Saturday Night Live movies, if he didn't fire him. So, but instead, Adam's like, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing, get all my boys together, and that's it. That's it, so rest is history. But definitely recommend Billy Madison, okay? It is a very good movie. Very good movie. Also, I will, if you're going to do, quizzing with Farley, it could get a little dirty. I'm just saying, I never realized how much hair, he definitely shaved down for the Chippendales sketch for sure. Anyways, and in that same year, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite comedies of all time came out, and that movie is called, I think I mentioned this at least 7 times already, Tommy Boy, and Chris Farley plays a character named Tommy.
Hey, what's your name?
Helen.
That's nice. You look like a Helen. Helen, we're both in sales. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman. Let's say I go into some guy's office. Let's say he's even remotely interested in buying something. Well, then I get all excited. I'm like, Jojo, the Indian circus boy with a pretty new pet. The pet is my possible sale. Oh, my pretty little pet. I love you. So I stroke it, I pet it, Massage it. Yeah, I love it. I love my little naughty pet. You're naughty. And then I take my naughty pet and I go. Oh! I killed it! I killed my sale! That's when I blow it. That's when people like us have got to forge ahead, Helen. Am I right?
That is a perfect example of Chris Farley just being Chris Farley, but like just taking over a scene. And there's so many great scenes in this movie that like he's able to do that. I wish I could play them all for you, but like if you haven't seen the movie, you should just experience it for yourself. First off, in that scene, the waitress was actually supposed to be played by Roseanne, but I don't know, it just never ended up happening. But yeah, I mean, he killed it. You know, this is just the whole frustration of being on the road and just, you know, figuring out shit and, you know, just trying to make his dad proud. And that's pretty much the whole theme of the movie here. It says here, after his auto parts tycoon father dies, the overweight, underachieving son teams up with a snide accountant to try and save the family business. And there you go. So it does imitate a lot of Farley's real life, like in the sense where he did work with his dad for a bit, and Big Tom, played by Brian Dennehy. We all know who Brian Dennehy is, you know. He's a pretty nice guy in this one, you know. Unlike Rambo, you know, he's just that cool dad, you know what I mean? And you know, they have a really good relationship in the movie. And you can see like a lot of it plays off that, you know, in Chris Farley's real life. And of course, David Spade's in there. This is where they officially team up. I mean, like I said before, technically the second time, but really the first time they're collaborating together. It's and it's just an awesome combination, guys. I mean, it really is. And again, you know, shame on the people that say, you know, this is a bad movie and, you know, it's silly and stupid. Like, this is, you look back at it now, and I'm telling you, I mean, it's a really good comedy. This is definitely Chris Farley at his best, for sure. I mean, you know, like I said, I would love to play, you know, the whole thing for you. I really would. I really would. One, I don't want to get sued. Two, you should just experience it for yourself. If you haven't seen it in a long time, watch it again. It's still just as funny. I mean, it's classic. I mean, I was going to play another scene where, you know, he kind of does some karate in the, you know, the one scene where he's just being, you know, shown around the factory there. But of course, it contains the R word. And we all know you can't say the R word anymore because of certain things. Thanks, PC culture. The point is, okay, awesome cast of people. You got Bo Derek, lovely woman. Danny Aykroyd, I'm sorry, Mr. Aykroyd, I'm sorry, I apologize for that. I just love you so much. Julie Warner, she's cool in the movie. I haven't seen her in something in a while, but she was really good in the movie. I like when she was like yelling on the boat. That was pretty good. Sean McCain, Zach Grenier. Just a great cast of people, guys. I mean, really just a great movie. But him and Spade together were just so good in this. But Farley, this is where it's like, you know what? Now we know what Farley can do on the big screen, and now he's got an official career as a movie star. So, like I said, if you have not seen this movie, you know, check it out tonight. Check it out as soon as you can. You will not regret it. Oh, and I also want to say I'm very proud that a lot of this movie was taped in Toronto, at the factory there where they taped the whole thing for, you know, with his dad's company there. If you live in Toronto, or if you ever visit Toronto, it's actually the Distillery District. Now, a few years ago, I was able to work there during the Christmas time. It was awesome. I tried to do it again years later. It was weird, the whole interview process. I don't know. They had a whole... I don't know, maybe they're doing this to save money over the years, I guess. And now they had everyone interview at one point there. And I even made the mention saying, you know, I loved working here a few years ago. And I mentioned that, you know, I was a big fan of Farley, and they taped Tommy Boy there. And I don't know, maybe it was a big fat guy there. I don't know, maybe they thought I was going to do something stupid or something. I don't know. And I get the job the second time. Shame on you. I didn't even mention that the one time I worked there at Christmas time, that one of the Santa Clauses was drunk. Okay, I was able to keep that quiet for years, and I never said anything. The point is, if you ever have a chance, if you're in Toronto, go there. It is excellent, nice atmosphere there, especially at Christmas time when they do all the feasts and everything. Definitely bring some money. But the point is, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. And and also I wanted to say, there was a time in my life where, who am I kidding? I still take cabs. I don't know. I don't trust Uber. I don't know. It just, I don't know. Unless someone else is paying, I don't trust it. But the point is, always ask a cab driver, you ever pick up anybody famous? And one cab driver I came across, he said, yeah, I picked up Chris Farley and David Spade. I was like, oh, no shit. He's like, yeah, they were making the movie Tommy Boy. And, they said they were really cool guys. And they even said, Farley went on the radio and he would even, talk to the other cab drivers, he just, put on a show for everybody. And yeah, that's the type of guy he was. So, I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool he did that. But, again, hilarious movie. I still enjoy watching it to this day. It is so fucking funny. I love it. Again, if you ever have the chance, definitely check it out. For sure. You will definitely not be sorry. And, of course, they realized, hey, you know what, Chris Farley, David Spade together, this is pretty good. Let's keep this thing going. So they did the movie Black Sheep. Now, Black Sheep, again, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not as good as Tommy Boy, but I still like it. It's still a funny movie. It's still got, all the elements there. My only beef with this movie is that, at one point in the movie, they have to go into the woods or something. And a lot of funny stuff does happen in the woods, but it kind of goes off track, from the main story. You know what I mean? So, I mean that's my only thing. But what does it say here? A gubernatorial. I hope I said that right. Candidate hires a wormy special assistant whose only job is to make sure the candidate's well-meaning but incompetent brother doesn't ruin the election. Okay, so I think you can pretty much guess who's going to be the person there they got to protect. Obviously, it's Farley. He plays a character named Mike Donnelly. David Spade is the guy that has to keep an eye on him, make sure shit doesn't go wrong. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Tim Masson. Okay, we all know from Animal House. Again, I will love this man forever. He plays Al Donnelly, plays Farley's brother there. You got Christine Ebersol, Gary Busey, who I think steals the show in this movie. I mean, I just want to say this. Gary Busey is fucking awesome. I know a lot of times he gets a lot of shit for, being a little wacky and all that, but the guy's a really good fucking actor, okay? Watch him in, movies like Point Break, the Buddy Holly story. I mean, him and his kid are good people, so I just want to say that. Grant Henslov, Timothy Carhart, Bruce McHale, who played the motorcycle guy in Animal House, who I think originally was supposed to be Dan Aykroyd. It's again, stories for another time. Don't worry. But Michael Patrick Carter, Boyd Banks, great cast, guys. I mean, this is a good little movie. Again, it's not as good as Tommy Boy. I will say that, but it's still worth checking out. If you like, Farley and Spade, you will like this movie. And like I said, I think Gary's great in this one. I don't know. He plays this old army vet, whatever. I think he's fucking great in it. But who is it? One of the Malakas there. The Roger. No, it wasn't Roger. No, Roger and Ebert there. I think it was Ebert. I think he said this was the only movie that he ever walked out of. Ever. I find that very hard to believe. I mean, there, bro, you know how many shit movies there were in the 80s? Fuck off. I mean, come on, There's some good ones. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. But this is the first movie you ever actually walked out on, or you didn't fall asleep, or something. Come on, fuck off. I mean, those two dudes, they really had it in for that whole, cast on Saturday Night Live. I don't know why, but I don't know. I still like this movie. Again, not as good as Tommy Boy, but it's still good. It still has its moments, for sure. So I would check it out. Okay? Okay, we only listen to those two Malakas because, I mean, there's nobody else to listen to back then. I mean, we had nothing else. I don't know. Now everybody's a film critic, including, the guy talking. But, yeah, so I would still check it out. If you like Tommy Boy, you'll like Black Sheep too. Don't worry about it. Now, obviously, he started Saturday Night Live in 1990 all the way to 1996. I thought it was 95, but I guess technically 96. Okay. So again, I've mentioned a lot of things already about Chris Farley and Saturday Night Live. I mean, obviously, Matt Foley, motivational speaker, is one of the funniest skits ever on Saturday Night Live. It's basically got to be in your top 10 if you're making a list, maybe even top 5. It's just fucking awesome. I mean, I've already said a lot about it already, but I mean, it's just Farley at his best. I mean, from beginning to end, as soon as he enters the scene, from when he leaves, it's just, and again, I mean, living in a van down by the river, I mean, is it really that bad? I mean, I don't know. I mean, in today's economy, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are doing it now. I mean, I don't know. It's like, fuck, look at the San Francisco there. I mean, Jesus Christ. But the point is, great sketch. One of my favorites is when Chris Farley did the Chris Farley Show, when he was just basically himself. I mean, a little bit more, obviously a lot less energy, but he was just more a little awkward and all that. And, when he interviewed Paul McCartney, I thought that was the best one for sure.
Okay. Wait, you remember when you were with the Beatles? And you were supposed to be dead, and there's all these clues that, like, you play some song backwards and it'd say, like, Paul is dead, and everyone thought that you were dead or something.
Yeah.
That was a hoax, right?
Yeah, I wasn't really dead.
Right. You remember Beatlemania? Where those 4 guys, they dressed, I went on stage and they looked like you, and then they played Beatles songs, and
Yeah, I heard about that.
that was awesome. Think we've got time for one more question. Remember when you were in the Beatles and you did that album Abbey Road, and at the very end of the song, the song goes, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. You remember that?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, Chris. In my experience, it is. I find the more you give, the more you get.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Thank you, Paul McCartney. Thank you for being one of the greatest the living legend, and a legend of rock and roll. And just thanks for being on the show. Thank you.
You did fine, Chris. It was good.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Thank you. Remember when I was talking to you about the Terminator?
Yeah.
You should see that movie. It's pretty cool.
That's classic. I mean, I love he's just like pointing at it, like, awesome. Oh man, he was so good in that. But again, it was just like, it was really Chris just being Chris. Like, he wasn't just like being loud and all that. Just, this is kind of his nice side. Just, him doing his thing, whatever. Also liked when Mike Myers did the Japanese game show, and like he would just talk to him in Japanese, and like Farley would just be like, I don't speak Japanese, I don't know what you're doing, and they're just like torturing this guy, putting jumper cables to his dick, and just like it's just crazy. But I mean, obviously, I talked about the Chippendale sketch. I mean, yeah, I mean that was awesome too. Yeah, like a lot of people felt that like it shouldn't have ended with him losing. It should have ended with him like winning. That would have been more funny. But because the whole joke is that he's a bigger guy, and and then it's funny. Even like Kevin Nealon's like, well, like we kind of considered like maybe some of our, some of our women customers may prefer a bigger guy, but until then we're just gonna go with the more fit guy, But like again, Farley held his own. From what I heard, like before he did that, he went to his old or one of his teachers at Second City, and he was kind of nervous about doing, because like I said, it was one of his first things on Saturday Night Live, and and she told him, just go out there, just give it your all, just go for it. And he did a great job, and then afterwards he almost went to her like kind of like a little puppy, like, oh, like, did I do good? Did I do okay? And she's like, yeah, you did great, Chris. You did great. Like, so, but even then, like, Chris was like such a sweet guy, and like he killed it, man. I mean, on Saturday Night Live, like in my opinion, he is in my top 5 performers of all time on Saturday Night Live. He is just so good, man. And like I said, he had such a strong presence, not just because, his size or just the way he moved, just like he did, like, like he was a very friendly guy, had a good smile, what I mean? Just a good all around dude. You know what I mean? He really just shined on there. And, and that's why it was shocking when like all these guys got fired, and, it was like, oh, like really? Like, why? Like, I don't, I don't know. I personally never understood that, but like I said, I mean, the success he had afterwards, I mean, people knew like he was going to be fine. Don't worry, it's all good. So, and then years later, he went back to host Saturday Night Live. So, I don't know. It's weird how it works. I mean, you get fired by Saturday Night Live, but then like, what was it? A year? Then not even 2 years later, you get asked to host. It's like Norm Macdonald. It's like I wasn't funny then, but now I'm funny enough to host now. And oh no, it's not me that's gotten funnier. It's the people on the show. They've gotten way worse. So but that's Norm, man. Man, God, I miss that guy already. But yeah, it's just weird how it works, But then he went back on there, and I don't know. It's honestly, for the most part, it wasn't good. I mean, like I look back. I mean, back then, I was like, oh, you're younger. You're like, oh, Farley's there. He's doing his thing, whatever. And it was still funny, but it just, I mean, looking back at it now, you're like, oh man, like he shouldn't have hosted. I mean, it was so bad that it literally came like yay close to. I mean, Chris Rock was there to be the host. Like they told him, like, look, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to host, and that's why he was there in the monologue. That's why he was there with Tim Meadows, and they're trying to play this whole thing. Oh, he won't show up. He's not ready. And Chevy Chase was his sponsor, and whole thing there. And I don't know, like I hear when they like re-air it places, like they don't even air that part because it's just hard to see, right? So. I don't know. They did it, the couple sketches there, of course. They brought back the Matt Foley character. I think they did it one too many times. I think like I get it's a sketch show. If something works, keep doing it. But certain things, I said it before and I'll say it again. You can't laugh at the same thing twice. You can make it different and all that. Like he did it another time, I think, with Christian Slater. Then he did another time with I think Martin Lawrence. I think, but then that was I mean, Martin Lawrence, he's banned from the show because of the monologue. He talked about pussy or something, and I don't know. Like they even give a proclaimer there or disclaimer or whatever. Disclaimer. And Yeah, so I didn't even air that part anymore. So, and then they tried to do one where he's in a like an exercise thing, and like they said, it was like even Jim Brewer said it was funny because at one point like he drinks all this like a coffee pot out of his bag, and he just spits it all over the Shannon and Sherry O'Terry there, and it just it's I don't know. I thought it looked bad too because like as the thing was clearly on wheels. It looked like he wasn't doing it. It looked very fake. I mean, even for the time, it didn't look good. I don't know. The one thing I liked, they were doing a thing with he was like the executive producer with Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry on some kind of day show or something, and they just keep breaking his balls. And then Chris Farley at one point just says, "Over the weekend, you stupid bitch," and then everyone just goes nuts, and he's like, "Oh, just kidding," that was all right, and. It was just crazy too, because like Norm again. I promised to bring up Norm every 5 minutes in this podcast. I just love him, but he's still doing the news at the time, and like he even said like at one point I think he said like it's okay if the joke doesn't land. He just gives Farley a chance to rest up a bit. I mean, he was joking when he said that, but I think on some level he was actually being serious. But and then there's one sketch he did where he was a big baby, and it was actually the first sketch that Tina Fey ever wrote that went to air. So, and then they did the super fans, of course, the Bears, And Chris Farley had a funny moment with him and Mike Ditka, and I thought it was Ditka, funny with Ditka at one point. He says, "Oh, like we suck now," like he admitted that. I thought that was funny, But yeah, for the most part, I mean, Chris Farley should not have hosted that night. He was just, I mean, you could tell he was bigger, like even for Farley, and it just, I don't know, like he did not look good, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back at it now. I just saw it recently, and I'm like, yeah, this is. And then in the beginning they were poking fun at him and all that, and it's just, I mean, like if you think about it, like they would never pull this shit today. Like, I mean, can you imagine if that happened today? Like everybody would be bitching and complaining online and Twitter, and oh, you're using Farley, you're using his him being fat and he's on drugs. Dude, the backlash they would get, forget it. I mean, forget it. But. Yeah, it's unfortunate that's the last thing he did on Saturday Night Live. But again, just think of the good shit he did when he was actually a cast member on the show. I mean, he was awesome. Like, honestly, I mean, like I said before, he could have been in, even a boring skit, or whatever, or skit that wasn't going that well, or maybe they thought it was going to be better, and he still deliver, Like the one skit they got, it was a Superman's funeral or something, and then like he played the Hulk, and it wasn't that good of a skit. I'll be honest with you, but I mean him as the Hulk I thought was funny. It was kind of and it's funny too because John Belushi, keep in mind, played the Hulk, back in the day on Saturday Night Live too. So it's funny how that worked out, right? So just don't go in the bathroom after Hulk. But other than that, I mean he one of the funniest cast members of all time. For sure. Absolutely. Despite what you want to say about Farley, he was absolutely hilarious on Saturday Night Live. So if you ever have a chance, you can go on YouTube and, check out a lot of the skits there. And, it was pretty awesome. This says here, Adam Sandler, Steve Polychronopoulos. Okay. As a Greek guy, I should know this, but I have no idea what this is. The music video of the hit Adam Sandler song Steve Polychronopoulos from his 1996 album What the Hell Happened to Me? Okay, give me I'm gonna keep it real with you. If there wasn't a Greek name involved, I probably wouldn't check this out. But just give me 1 second, okay? Parakalo. Steve Polychronopoulos is a bad guy. If you do what he does, nobody will like you, especially the thing with the cat, which was fake, by the way. Don't be a Steve Polychronopoulos. Also, have a nice day. Ladies and gentlemen, I just watched this video of Adam Sandler, Steve Polychronopoulos. I mean, it's very possible that Greek people did look like this. I want to say maybe in 1983-ish. But, I did not see Chris Farley. I did not. I was a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. So I hate to call bullshit on IMDb here, but he is not in this video. No. Good little song, though. I mean, my favorite Adam Sandler comedy album will forever be They're All Gonna Laugh at You. No! They're all gonna laugh at you! But I did not see Chris Farley in this video. Now, if someone wants to watch this, including the cop car going by my window, and tell me they did see him, I watched it very carefully. I didn't see it, so let me know, okay? It's on YouTube. Check it out. But good song. I like it. Then he was in a series called All That. He played the Chicago Ketchup Chef. Okay, so I believe this was his very last thing he did on TV. It's with Kenan Thompson here, who's on Saturday Night Live. I believe still. I think he's been on the show since 1992, I believe. Yeah, so I don't know. They make a chocolate cake and then they put ketchup on it for some reason, and I don't know. I don't get it. I gotta be honest with you. I didn't see the point in this one. Ooh wee, what up with that? What up with that? What's up? What's up with that? That I enjoyed. Farley's next movie was Beverly Hills Ninja, where he played the character Haru. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, this, not Farley's best. I'll just say that. It still has its moments. It's all right, but it's okay. A man tries to rescue a woman with a little help from his half-brother. Now, his half-brother is played by Robin Shu. He plays Gobi. He's the dude that played Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat movie, and unfortunately in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But Nicole Sheridan is the girl that they're trying to rescue. Lovely woman. Chris Rock is in it. He plays a wannabe ninja or something. I don't know. It's just listen. This movie, you can't really give it a lot of thought. You can't. I can see what they're trying to do, make kind of an action comedy here, with him doing kung fu and all that. But I don't know. It just, it's okay. It's like I said, it has its moments. If you want to check it out, it is what it is. Bernie Burlstein was I believe his agent at the time. What I'm told is they saw in the movie, or they saw the screening together, and at the end of it, Chris Farley did not like the way this movie came out. He didn't like he didn't like it so much that he was literally crying at the end of the movie in Bernstein's shoulder there, and it wasn't good. It just, it kind of, it wasn't good. Let's just say that. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Will they make a sequel with Chris Rock? I don't know. Getting revenge on Will Smith? Who knows? But the point is, it's, I don't know. It is what it is. Almost Heroes. This was the last movie. It's the last movie that he starred in. And then it got released a few months after he died. Played a character named Bartholomew Hunt. Bartholomew? There you go. That's how you say it. So this is, I mean, I'm going to say this is better than Beverly Hills Ninja. I will say that, but that doesn't say much. I mean, it's, I don't know. Two bumbling explorers hope to beat Lewis and Clark to the Pacific Ocean as they race across America's western frontier in the early 1800s. Okay, so he's teamed up with Matthew Perry, who plays Leslie Edwards. Like I said, I never really watched Friends, so I assumed he was on a good streak here with Friends. And I don't know, someone said, "Hey, let's team him up with Farley," and I mean that someone should get beaten. But the point is, like I said, it has its moments. I will say that Eugene Levy's funny in it. He's got I think he steals a lot of the scenes. To be honest with you, I'm not just saying that because I'm Canadian. I'm just saying. Bokeem Woodbine is in it. Barry Del Shearman, David Packer, Jonathan Josh. Yeah, it's got a decent cast. I'll give it that, but it's just, who's the woman? Lisa Busca. She's cool. But yeah, I don't know. It has its moments. I will say this, the whole thing where he's like getting the egg from the tree, I thought that was funny. Yeah, but I don't know. It does make you wonder what else, Farley was going to work on after this, but yeah. I mean, again, if you want to check it out just for shits and gigs, it's up to you. Like I said, it's got a few laughs here and there. Oh, I like the one part where he gets himself groomed and, and you find out, they didn't have a dentist back then. It was just some random guy with a mallet. But other than that, it has its moments. I don't know. What are you going to do? And it's no Tommy Boy. Let's just say that. But I don't know. What are you going to do? Again, it is what it is. And the last movie that Chris Farley ever worked on was a little movie that I was actually thinking about doing a whole podcast on, but who knows if that'll happen. We'll see. It's a little movie called Dirty Work, and he plays a character named Jimmy. Now, all I'm going to say is this. Other than Tommy Boy, I truly believe this is his best performance, other than Tommy Boy, on film. I love this movie, okay? Big Norm Macdonald fan. This is definitely a cult classic. 6.4 out of 10. Maybe we could boost it up to a 7. I'm just saying, it's sick, it's dirty, it's their job. Norm Macdonald in Dirty Work. Revenge is sweet. A loser finds success in the revenge for hire business. Directed by Bob Saget. That's right. The father from Full House directed this movie, okay? There's so much more to this story, guys. I'd love to talk to you about it. But this podcast has already gone well over 2 hours. And if you're with me, I don't know whether to love you or feel sorry for you. But either way, I think Chris Farley was fucking hilarious in this movie, okay? He's in it for what? Maybe, I would say, give or take 5 scenes. He's awesome. He plays a character... he says he's uncredited for some reason. I don't know why, but his character is actually named Jimmy No Nose. Now, why he's named that is because he literally has no nose. Apparently, a Saigon whore bit his nose off. I can't make this shit up. I swear, this is what actually happened in the movie, and it's a good movie, guys. I know I'm not really building it up, but this is actually a really funny movie. If you have the chance, check it out. Norm Macdonald's in it. You got Jack Warden, old school dude, fucking hilarious. I don't know. Artie would say he would come in there every day and tell the same story because he was starting to lose it because he was a little bit older. But this guy's been acting forever. I remember he was in the very first Twilight Zone season, 1959. He was in a few episodes of that one. I don't know. He's with was he with a woman on the moon or something, or some alien, and then he was in charge of a baseball team that had a robot player, and I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. It's it was a good show, man. I'm not gonna lie. But the Artie Lang, love Artie. Taylor Howard. Oh shit, that's her name. Wait, what did I say before? Taylor. Oh shit, I called her by something else before. I'm sorry, that's my bad. Maybe she got married. Maybe that's why. Okay, we'll chalk it up to that. Don Rickles, fucking hilarious. He has one of the best scenes in this movie where he's just ripping on Artie and Norm, just roasting them. Fucking, we miss you, Don. Christopher McDonald, who was McGavin in Happy Gilmore. He's fucking great in this as the bad guy. Chevy Chase. He's great in this as well. If anything, he told Norm Macdonald, do not make this a PG movie. I don't know. They didn't listen. It should be. There's a rated R version of this movie somewhere. I'd love to see it. If anybody ever finds it one day, please tell me. For God's sakes. There was a rumor that Howard Stern was supposed to be in this movie, but instead it was Adam Sandler who plays the devil. Again, guys, I cannot make this up. So I love this movie. I don't give a fuck. And like I said, Chris Farley is other than Tommy Boy, he's at his best.
Hey, Mitch!
Jimmy, your new nose looks great.
Thanks. Best $200 I ever spent.
Hey, Jimmy, that girl you're with, she's not the,
Yep. Lynn Young, the Saigon whore who bit my nose off.
We're getting hitched.
Oh,
Jimmy, let's go.
Hold on, I'm talking to my friend here. Jeez. Sometimes you gotta remind the hen who the rooster is.
well, good luck to you, Jimmy.
Okay, Mitch. See you around. Blah, 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 blah.
When I say let's go, you go.
Yeah? Time you shut your case hole, Yoko. Women. Listen, don't ever talk back to me like that in front of my friends.
You're making me really angry.
Oh, that scares me. That scares me to death.
Look. Oh! You bit my new nose off. Damn it.
Where do I begin? Okay, so you know what? Fuck it. Just watch the movie. Trust me, you'll laugh your ass off. I mean, like he gets a new nose. Like, the irony is, it looks like one of his first movies. It looks like he's got a cone head on his nose. It looks horrible. Well, you get what you pay for. But I mean, he steals every scene in this movie, and it's just overall a good movie. I like it. I think it's pretty funny. I mean, Norm Macdonald, he did the best he could here, and like he told people, it was, people told him it wasn't a good movie or wasn't a success or whatever, and he goes, "What do you mean? The movie made $1 million." So, the reporter in the movie there, I forgot his name, Gordon Martinall, I think his name is. I actually ran into him recently at a gig I did. I won't say where. It was a cool little gig for someone who passed away. A good, cool director. But anyways, I grew up watching him on City TV. I think I told the story before, but nobody listens here. But anyways, so I didn't know what to say to him, and I said, "Oh, dude, it's you." And I said, I just blurted out. I said, "You were great in Dirty Work," and like he pauses for a second, and he goes, "Dirty Work. That was a fun day. That was a fun day." He totally acknowledged it. Cool motherfucker. Love him. Him and Mark Daly on City TV. You guys are awesome. Rest in peace to Mark Daly. City Pulse News. Everywhere. So a lot of it was taped in Toronto. There's tons of stories that go with this. But, maybe I'll do a podcast about this movie one day. But Yeah, I would check out this movie. I'm just saying, you know, if you love him and Tommy Boy, I think he really, you know, I want to do a solid for Norm, of course, you know, a little part, you know, for this movie, but I thought he was great in this. So if you got a chance, definitely check this movie out. It's called Dirty Work. It came out in 1998. Please, who's ever listening out there, if you can somehow release the R-rated version, please, you know, we need it. Okay, we need a good R-rated comedy in today's society. Okay, so if you love Farley, you will love this movie. And you know, he's with all his boys, Norm, and everybody. So definitely check this one out. Also, I was, you know, I'm gonna add this too. Why not? The theater used to be the Uptown Theater in downtown Toronto, around Yonge and Bloor there. I used to skip school all the time. It used to be open at 1 o'clock, watch movies. And ironically, right across the street is where Brass Rail is. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Now, that was, you know, the last of Chris Farley. We, you know, that's the last movie we got from him while he was alive. And, you know, a lot of people wonder what would have happened, you know, if he was alive and what would be the next thing. But, yeah, for years we did not know this. And I already spoke about this before. But, yeah, he would have been Shrek in the movie Shrek. And, if you go online, you go on YouTube there, just type in Chris Farley as Shrek, lost footage found. Now, it's going to have a scene that's maybe about 3 minutes. It's a scene where him and Donkey are talking and, you know, like, you know, why he wants to get his, you know, swamp back and all that. And it's pretty cool just watching it, you know, just seeing Farley's voice in there, you know. And yeah, the animation's a little bit different. Obviously, I mean, they wanted to create more of a character that looked a little bit more like Farley. I did see one drawing online that it's literally identical. And this had to be the picture that Mike Myers saw. It had the same hair, same face, same build. I mean, it looked, I don't want to say exactly like Chris Farley, but, you know, pretty much the same thing. You know what I mean? And, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then just even recently, even like the last was a month or two, this one little, not even a 10-second clip came out. It didn't have anything of Chris Farley saying anything, but it was just an unreleased animation that came out. It's to the song, you know, with James Brown, "I Feel Good." I mean, if you blink, you miss it. You know what I mean? But you know, it's good just to see that you know, stuff is slowly coming out. And remember years ago when the original lost footage clip came out, there was about 3-4 scenes that came out as well. I think they got removed from YouTube or something. I mean, because of rights or whatever. Maybe they didn't want it out there, but I don't know. I can't seem to find it anymore. I like to recommend it to you guys, but if you can find it, it's just like simple still drawings. It's similar to the lost footage found clip I just recommended, but I don't know. I can't find it anymore. I mean, they're a lot shorter. I think they're only like maybe 30 seconds a scene tops. You know, I remember I just more of them, but I can't find them, you know. And it's crazy too. I mean, they even have like video comparisons of, you know, Mike Myers' voice compared to Farley's, and some of them, you know, they put like the clips in there. So some people like they just put like clips of Farley's other movies in there, like matching with like the scenes or what it would have sounded like. And, you know, it's just interesting to see all that. I mean, but like I said, if you ever see that one picture, it'll be him and Donkey, and they're just walking along sunflowers, just like in the background there. It's just like one picture that someone drew, but you can tell that's Farley. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but yeah, but again, it just shows like how much of an impact Chris Farley had if people are just, you know, doing this. And like, who knows, maybe one day someone out there with a lot of time in their hands, but who knows, maybe it'll be worth it. We'll put every, you know, thing that Chris Farley said and just combine it, you know, into a whole new Shrek movie. Maybe they'll make it with his voice. I mean, who knows, maybe some fan out there will do it. I mean, that'd be pretty awesome if they do it. Me, I can barely read, so I can't help you there. But, yeah, that would be cool to see. And one thing, you know, just, you know, the crazy thing is, like, watching the one scene with, like I said, with Chris Farley as Shrek, lost footage found, I almost feel bad for bringing this up, but at the same time, I feel it should be something that we should talk about. Like, I mean, this was the last thing that Chris Farley worked on, right? And the other scenes, I can't find them, but like this scene specifically, it's kind of a personal scene in the movie, and he talks about people see him as, a big stupid ogre and stuff like that. And I almost hate to say this, but again, I'm not saying this is what led to Farley's death or nothing, but, I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie to you, as a fat guy growing up, especially as a kid, getting teased and all that. I mean, it's not easy. You know what I mean? And I can't imagine what it's like being in the public eye, and then you're already thought of like this, and then you're doing a movie like this, and then you're thinking, shit, like, I'm doing this scene in the movie, and like, are people going to think this of me in real life? And, I hate to say that, I really do, but it's something that I never hear anybody ever talk about. I don't know, maybe it's because they don't want to, and I don't blame them, but at the same time, maybe it fucked a little bit with Farley's head. I mean, it would with me, I mean, for sure, but, you think to yourself, like, shit, maybe he's doing this, and like, I mean, who knows if he wanted to do another movie after this, even if it was a success. And people keep saying, oh, would it have been a success, like, with Farley? I think regardless, the movie would have been a success. I don't think it would have been more. I don't think it would have been less. I will say this. I have seen the voiceovers with, or the comparisons with Mike Myers talking his normal voice to his actual voice. Because they have, I've heard that they had to re-record it, and it cost them like another $4 million just to re-record everything that Mike Myers says. I don't know why it would cost that much, but I mean, I don't know, like even Mike Myers heard that and he says, that's bullshit. There's no way it cost that much. But I mean, either way, it was well worth it. I think it was better with the Scottish accent than it was just his normal voice. Not his normal voice is bad or anything. I don't know, it's just hard to picture it anything else now. But, with Farley, I don't know, like maybe it just messed with him a bit, and, and that was one of the scenes that got first done, I mean, or leaked or whatever. And it just makes me wonder. That's all, and I hope he didn't actually feel like that, because, I mean, that would suck, I mean, Farley was such a talented guy, man, honestly. I mean, these last couple of days, I've just been looking up a lot of stories. I looked them up before as well, but it really just makes me wonder, what Farley's, future would have been like, and, it's, I don't know, it makes me sad a little bit, of course, like everyone else. It's like I said, with Farley, it's that happy and sad feeling. I mean, as soon as you see him, you just laugh, because you just know all the funny stuff he did and everything he did to make us laugh. At the same time, you think, yeah, it's, the party ended way too soon. It shouldn't have ended like that. And I was able to look up a couple things and see a couple things that he would have probably more than likely would have been a part of. One of them was this Disney movie called Dinosaur. Yeah, I know. I never heard of it either. But apparently he was supposed to be a voice in that. So, it looked like, with Shrek, Dinosaur, it could have been another chapter in his life, just doing voiceover work alone. I mean, because even before this, he really didn't do that much. I mean, voiceover-wise anyway, so... and then I mentioned before Lost and Found with David Spade. Artie Lang, he was supposed to be Chris Farley. Artie Lang replaced him. Again, I don't know if it was going to be just that as the third movie. Something else was in the works. I couldn't find anything else, so who knows there. Now, the thing I found very interesting was he was supposed to take on more of a serious role with this one actor called... Roscoe Arbuckle. And he was an old actor. Me personally, I don't know a lot about him. I had to look up some stuff here. Of course, thank you, Wikipedia. It says here, Roscoe Conklin Fatty Arbuckle, March 24th, 1887 to June 29th, 1933, was an American silent film actor, comedian, director, and screenwriter. He started as the Selig Polyscope Company and eventually moved to Keystone Studios, where he worked with Mabel Normand and Harold Lloyd, as well as his nephew, Al St. John. he also mentored Charlie Chaplin, Monty Banks, and Bob Hope, and brought vaudeville star Buster Keaton into the movie business. Arbuckle was one of the most popular silent stars of the 1910s and one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, signing a contract in 1920 with Paramount Pictures for $14,000, equivalent to $189,000 in 2021. And they got a picture of him here, and yeah, he kind of looks like a young Farley. Yeah, I mean, this would have been him, let's see, he's around his like mid-20s probably. Yeah, so very similar for sure. So, and a lot of people said, Farley, he wanted to do more serious roles, so it would be interesting to see. I mean, again, like, we just know him for his comedy for the most part. We really didn't see, that serious acting side of Farley. So this could have been the beginning right here. You know what I mean? So also the rumor was they wanted to make this movie as far back as like, I think the 80s. And they even wanted to do it with John Candy and John Belushi. So, the sad thing is it's all yeah, fuck man, we lost all three of these dudes. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, way too soon. Oh, jeez. But, yeah, so, I mean, who knows what would have happened there. Also, Grown Ups, the movies with Adam Sandler and the boys there. This was supposed to happen all the way in the early 90s. And Farley, was supposed to be a part of that. So, of course, he got replaced with Kevin James. And, a lot of people, they look at Adam Sandler movies and, when they see Kevin James in there, a lot of people just think, Chris Farley, would have probably fulfilled that role. I remember on Howard Stern, David Spade and Chris Rock showed up, and I think they were promoting the first Grown Up movie, and then right away Howard Stern, even as they were sitting down, he said, like, "Oh, Chris Farley was, probably supposed to be in the movie, right?" And like Chris Rock says, kind of a joke. He's like, "Yeah, he probably was if he wasn't dead." So. I mean, more than likely, I think more than likely he would have been Chuck and Larry as well. Paul Blart, I mean, more than likely, probably Chris Farley, although a lot of people say it was probably more meant for like Kevin James to do that role. It was more just like, for his way to shine, but again, who knows? A lot of people always say, all these people like Jack Black, Kevin James, would they have gotten, as big if it wasn't for Farley? Well, you know what? Who knows? Who knows? I can't see Chris Farley being in Nacho Libre. I can't see. I don't think that would have been nearly as good. I think Jack Black absolutely killed that. And Kevin James, I think Kevin James would have been fine. He did King of Queens, and I think he would have done movies on his own too. I mean, more than likely, my feeling is that Paul Blart was probably just him. That's my feeling, but I don't know. Who knows? But it's just crazy. I mean, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to do this podcast about Chris Farley for quite some time, but I wanted to build up as many stories as I could. Give it all to you in one shot here, so you don't have to go here and there for everything. But I am and always will be a huge fan of Chris Farley's. And I'm definitely not the only one, because even doing my research the last day, just getting a little more stuff here. Ed O'Neill, who I will forever love for Married with Children. Everyone knows him from Modern Family. I know that, but Married with Children to me is one of my favorite shows of all time. That was that basically started the whole dysfunctional family, of the 80s, 90s. It was just awesome show. But he told a story about Chris Farley, and he never told us before. He just told us a few weeks ago on the the Eisner Sports Show there, and he just said that he went to a Super Bowl party at John Lovitz's house, and of course Chris Farley was invited, and of course Chris Farley came late. At the time, he was in rehab, but they let him go just for, the one day, whatever, just to, go out, see his buddies, whatever. And, everyone's got the food already. So, of course, Farley comes late. He's helping us out to the food. And, I think Lovitz says at one point, like, leave some for us, whatever. He's just filling up his plate, whatever. So, Farley, he's just filling up his plate, and he sees this like big loaf of bread, and it's got like the the line on it, the stitching like a football, this big piece of bread, and he's just filling it up with like all the toppings, all the ketchup, mustard, all the shit, whatever. And he notices that John Lovitz has a cat, and just like it still looks like a kitten, and he takes the cat, he puts him in the sandwich, like with all the condiments, all the shit between a piece of bread, and like he just comes like out of the room there, whatever, and like everyone's like looking at him like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and he's just like, I'll eat anything. I want to, like, and I'm just picturing this in my head. Everyone's laughing on the show, whatever. It's a story like he never told. And like Ed O'Neill said, he literally just almost fell out of the chair laughing. Like he just couldn't believe like Farley would do this. And me personally, I would. I do believe it. And God bless him for it. And so that happened a few weeks ago. He just told the story. And then like in the last, I think, week or couple days, whatever, John Lovitz, people were wondering, like, oh my God, is this true? Whatever, listen, Ed O'Neill's, old school. The guy's not going to lie. I believe him. But John Lovitz went online, he went on Twitter or whatever, and he put up a few pictures of Chris Farley holding the piece of bread with all the trimmings, and the cat is in the sandwich. And one of the pics, like it looks like he's about to take a bite. The cat looks like just terrified. But that's Farley, man. Like that is just so classy. And like and Lovitz is like, like here's the proof, whatever. There it is. Like it actually happened. So thank you. John, for putting that up there, Ed O'Neill for telling the story. But I mean, that's my point with Chris Farley, ladies and gentlemen, is that, I mean, almost 25 years later, he's still making us laugh. I mean, like, how many people can say that? You know what I mean? Like, and I know, the way he passed away, it wasn't good. And, people don't want to remember that. And, listen, I don't remember that either. It's just, it was just, he just died way too soon. He had so much more to give. He was only 33. And, I mean, it was just, eerie, the way it was, how it went down, similar to Belushi. And he was, 33 and the whole thing there. And it sucks. It really sucks. But, like, how many people can you say can still make you laugh? Like, even with a new story 25 years later. Holy shit. I mean, it just... I mean, that is the power of this man. You know what I mean? And he's still making us laugh, even beyond the grave. He's just, he's such a funny guy, man. I mean, such a funny guy. So, he always makes me laugh. And then, I get a little sad thinking about him. And it's too soon, and I still wonder what he would have done, I think we all do, we all know because of Shrek, he definitely would have been financially definitely successful, but, but what more would he have done? I mean, so, there's always that what if there, but let's just focus on, everything he did while he was living, and, between the coming and eating pussy sandwiches. I mean, Jesus, like it just never ends with this guy. He's just so funny. I mean, he's such a talented guy, man. Just one of my favorite people of all time. And I miss him a lot. He's touched a lot of lives, and like I said, it's really cool that Adam Sandler did that one song, dedicated to him, and like everybody's still thinking about him, and his legacy will forever live on. And I just want to give a shout out to him and his family. You guys did a great job. Never doubt that. And all the friends and that supported him, and everybody out there that supported him, through all his movies and shows and appearances, and he was just an amazing man, but You know, to simply put it, you know, he was just Chris Farley.
Some other time, maybe we could
No!
go camping.
What?
You know, just you and me.
Okay, let's go.
Mitch and Lonely.
Oh.